they would just catch up with my head, and it would look normal then. And if you're wondering what we're talking about, good. It's Friday.
South Carolina, let me talk to you. Yeah.
That's too high to be. I mean, you gotta.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure you can hit those depths.
Yeah.
Do you really want to though?
Yeah.
That's so annoying.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Rob Brown Show is on the radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all, and happy Friday. What's happening, everybody? How y'all doing? What's shaking? How's the week besides just about over? Good to be with you. Rob Brown, that's me on the other side of the metaphorical glass. The other seductive voice you hear this AM belongs to that we call the great one, the Sultan of Swag, the Professor of Perfection, the Wizard of Wave, the Alpha and the Omega of the Fan Upstate, the conductor of the Symphony of Sound that is the Rob Brown Show. Lonzo is here as well. What's up, dog?
Well, you can't go by the Cleveland Tigers, won the basketball, you're going to do the whole thing, go win the NCAA, you're going to cut down them nets, and it's going to be amazing. Go Tigers.
I mean, jokes aside, they kind of beat the hell out of the Wolfpack last night. They kind of smoked those chumps.
I don't know. I don't know how people are going to take this, but I was watching last night, and I thought I was watching Hoosiers. Take it however you want. Could have swore I saw Jimmy Chipwood out there.
Clemson basketball, you guys, was in fuego last night.
Were they?
Yes.
I mean, not in the beginning though. It was pretty close for a while.
Started down 9, then a 33-point swing led to them being up like a lot.
Then I'm like, oh, they're gonna win. I think I'll just go to sleep.
Oh, boy, howdy, did they win? They beat, for the third consecutive time, by the way, the absolute dog snot up out of the Wolfpack last night. But I'm going to say this, and this is not a shot. This is not disrespect, although it is going to be labeled as such by some of y'all that are sensitive, as Major Payne would say.
Oh, no, there's none of those people here listening right now. No.
I do not think that gets you in yet. I think you are now the top team on the bubble, but I think you are very much on the bubble, which means you got to do one of two things. You either got to A, finish it up, bring that same game tonight against the Virginia Cavaliers in the ACC tournament semifinals, or you got to hope a lot of other bubble teams get busted up.
Didn't Virginia just knock somebody major off?
Carolina.
Did they do that? You mean North Carolina?
That would be the one.
Yeah.
Sorry. North Carolina. I just committed a cardinal sin.
Yeah, because South Carolina, I think, beat Clemson in basketball, didn't they?
South Carolina did beat Clemson in basketball back in game 3 of the opening portion of the season. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you that if Clemson misses the tournament, that L is why. I mean, not just that one. It is also the loss to Loyola Chicago, Louisville, Boston College. But I think if you take any one of those 4 L's off the board, with the win last night, Clemson is dancing. Now, there are, if you go look, depending on where you look at, based on bracketology, there are some thoughts from some folks in the know that already believe that Clemson is in. They feel like the win last night got them in, that they are set, that they are dancing already. I am not in that group, and that is not a shot. It just is a reality. The losses that Clemson took earlier in the season, specifically the 4 that I had pushed the replay button on over and over, those L's are worse L's than the best dubs are good dubs for Clemson. That's how college basketball works. We talk about those quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4 games. I read you what those quadrant definitions are yesterday. A quadrant 1 win helps you out quite a bit. The fact that Clemson had 4 or 5 Q1 wins is a big boost. North Carolina, for the record, played 10 Q1 games this year. They were 1-9. That's why Carolina's not in, right? They needed a deep run in this men's tournament to get off the bubble and for the Heels to go dancing. They did not get it. I said going into this tournament, Clemson needs to. I stand by that. I still think you've got to knock off Virginia. Now, that's not to say you can't play a hell of a close game against the Cavaliers tonight and still get in. It's absolutely possible. But if you want to end tonight knowing you're going dancing, you got to win tonight. You got to get the dub tonight. If you do that, you're definitely in. If you don't, you're going to be waiting to see what the rest of the teams on the bubble do. The loss by Carolina is enormous because I think if Carolina would have got by Virginia and Clemson, it likely elevates them over you. Mainly not because they've outperformed Clemson. They have not. But because they get, as we've mentioned multiple times, they get the blue blood treatment, right? In football, you get the SEC touch. You get a little forgiveness if you play in the Southeastern Conference. In college basketball, you get a little bit of a kiss on the cheek. If you're a blue blood, if you're a Kansas, a Kentucky, a Duke, a North Carolina, you get a little bit of leeway. I think we know Clemson has done more than Carolina did, but those 4 L's that I mentioned, BC, Louisville, South Carolina, and Loyola Chicago, all of those effectively count as 2 losses because they're all bad losses, right? They're all bad losses. So those count like losing 2 against middle or upper tier ACC opponents. That being said, is what it is. You went out last night for the 3rd time. You beat the hell out of NC State. You've won 5 out of the last 6 going into round 1 of the tournament. Pretty good start. Lunardi does not have Clemson in yet. But again, handful of other teams on the bubble. Lunardi said there's 35 teams that are locked in as of now. There are some AQs left to be handed out. We still got the ACC title. It will help Clemson to either win the ACC tournament or to have one of the locks get it. What's the good news for the Tigers here? The good news is there were 3 locks out of the ACC. Miami, Duke, Virginia. Those were the 3 considered locks. Do you know who the other 3 teams in the ACC semifinals are tonight? Duke, Miami, and Virginia, right? So if Clemson cannot win the ACC tournament tonight, the good news is one of the teams that does and gets the AQ spot was already a lock. It's not going to eat up a bubble spot. If there were any other teams in the ACC that had made it to the semifinal, aside from Duke, Virginia, and Miami, you would have had a bubble team with a threat to win the ACC, taking that lock, meaning that one of the other locks would have eaten up a non-AQ spot, right? So Clemson at this point is really, really hoping that no bubble teams go and win major conference tournaments this weekend and knock locks from those conferences into non-AQ spots because it hurts their chances of jumping off the bubble and into March. So you are a team favorite now unless you just go out and win the damn tournament. PJ Hall last night. I love this. I was watching that game last night at the house when it went to conclusion, and who was it? Holly Rowe was talking to PJ after the game, right? And she goes, "All right, you guys have been widely considered a bubble team. These are the type of wins that people have been saying that you need in order to move off the bubble and to get into the tournament. What do you think this says about you?" And PJ looked and said, "We'll worry about that later. We're here to win this. Let's get this one first." And, so A lot of times athletes get on those post gamers and they coach speak, right? The coach speak. That's what you do. You just say the thing that's accepted. Oh, well, we're going to focus on what's down the road.
Or you say,
we got to do this now.
Or you mentioned coach speaks. They say the thing that the coach told them to say.
Yeah. Dude, he said it and he had nah. He got the look. Dude looked in the camera and he's like, we win this one first. We're here to win this. And I love that, right? Because here's the thing. Clemson's been considered a bubble team for a couple of weeks now, right? At one point, you led the ACC, and it felt like they were a lock. They dropped a couple of stupid games down the road. They moved on to the bubble. And frankly, again, honestly, I still think they are on the bubble right now. You're not on the bubble if you control your own destiny, right? You're not on the bubble if you win the ACC. Just go get the AQ spot. Don't put it in the hands of the committee. Don't worry about what a bunch of old nerds with laptops in a hotel room in Indy decide is or is not your fate. Take your fate into your own hands. Take your fate into your own hands. Go win the ACC tournament. Move on. And I'm going to tell you, the team that played last night is good enough to beat Virginia. The team that played last night is good enough to beat Miami. They're good enough to beat Duke. But that is not the problem. We have seen that team play this year good enough to beat Miami, good enough to beat Virginia, good enough to beat Duke. We've seen that already. The problem is that the team that is good enough to beat Miami, good enough to beat Virginia, good enough to beat Duke is also, when they're off their game, bad enough to lose to Louisville. At the time, a 3-win ACC team. That ain't going to get it done. You got to do better, right? And I think once they do, if they can bring that, if they can drop that inconsistency label, I described them last week as consistently inconsistent. And I have multiple Clemson fans hit me on social media like, yeah, Rob, that's it, right? That's the description. If you can drop the inconsistency element tonight and go get 2 in a row, you are going to be fine. You can beat the 3 teams still standing. But, as I also mentioned yesterday on the show, Brad Brownell is 6-11 in the ACC tournament and has never won back-to-back games in the ACC tournament. Never done it. 6-11, no back-to-back wins. He's got to change that, and he's got to change it tonight. If you fall to Virginia, I'm not saying it prevents you from getting into the tournament. I'm saying you are throwing a lot of hope at the committee to please look at the big wins, including the NC State win last night. Please look at the big wins and tell us it's enough. You knock off Virginia tonight, there's no more question mark. You knock off a lock tonight in Virginia, and you're in the dance. For the record, I do not think you have to win the ACC tournament. I don't think you have to AQ yourself in with an ACC tournament crown to go dancing if you're Clemson. What I am saying is that Lenardi, CBS Sports, and myself, none of us today, despite the win last night, have Clemson in. That's not a shot. That's not disrespect. There's our favorite texter. What a shocker the Upstate Gamecock show doesn't think Clemson's in the dance. I haven't talked Gamecock basketball at all. It has been nothing but your team for about a week now. But I just said, it ain't just me. I don't think Joe Lenardi's a Gamecock fan. I don't think the entirety of the CBS college basketball panel of experts are Gamecock fans. They're irrelevant, my guy. They're irrelevant in this discussion. What is relevant is your team has 4 losses that were flat out bad, and they have to be avenged. It was a hell of a first start last night, beating the hell out of the Wolfpack. Bring that same energy, bring that same noise tonight, knock off Virginia, and you don't have to worry about a committee. Don't do that, and you're basically going to be sitting around on Sunday with your fingers, toes, and all available appendages crossed, hoping that a bunch of dorks in a room with a computer decide that you've earned their respect.
You notice he couldn't come at you with, you went this far in the show and you haven't talked about Clemson yet.
You got segment 1, dude. Segment 1. It's the most important segment of the show is segment 1. All right. Let's take a break. We will talk a lot.
You know what I'm glad about? Segment 1 is over.
I got a lot on the prep sheet for you today. Coming up later on in the show. Yesterday, we told you that there are multiple high-tier NFL players saying they believe that all of the disinterest, quote-unquote, in Lamar Jackson is collusion. CBS Sports spoke with a number of agents yesterday, of course, none of whom represent Lamar Jackson. Do they think there's collusion happening? And if so, how bad of a look is that for the NFL? We will get into that. Calvin Ridley will be back in the league after serving his suspension for gambling on the game. I want to tell you the story about Calvin Ridley. See if you got any sympathy for that guy. And the best NFL free agents still available as of today. Who are they? And do any of them potentially find a landing spot in Charlotte? All of that and more coming up on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Lonzo and you. This is the Fan Upstate. Skrilla, what's up, big dog? Welcome in. Good to see you, my guy. Appreciate you coming by. I got to change our banner. Where's our banner look? Here it is.
What's the banner? What's the banner?
Fayetteville, Illinois should be dancing from what it sounds, and I will catch you next time I see you at a Swamp Rabbits game. You were great, and they're lucky to have you, brother. They could have at least scored, though, for my first hockey game. Yeah, last night was not the best performance by the bits. It was but again, they haven't been at home in 2 weeks. They had to find the rhythm back. I suspect, Joe, tonight will be significantly better. Be right back.
I have nothing to say. I'm just going to sit here and play with my hair. You guys get to see me play with my hair. It's Friday. I got plenty to say. I just don't want to say it. It's this moment.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
So I did that thing this morning. You know, when you get on the kids or whatever and you say, don't run into that. You're going to knock a bunch of stuff down. This morning I took a step and knocked all the stuff down that they had never knocked down. Lots of valuable things that just went crashing to the floor. Didn't break anything though. I got lucky. There's a reason why he only has 37 jobs, not 47. But if he got to 47, he might be able to afford like a 82 Bronco, something like that. Maybe a 89. Does anybody out there wash the gray out of their hair? Just curious. Do you have a thing where you can wash it in? Because I mean, I got the gray going right here. Might as well just go the whole way. I think Rob got lost or he stubbed his toe. It's really painful. Well, it's already happening. You know, that's what I'm saying. I mean, might as well just hasten it. I am 54 and a grandpa, so I should be happy that I still have hair and, you know, things haven't turned all the way yet. But I have the advantage or disadvantage of seeing myself right there and seeing myself over there. And it just really stands out. So if you see me cover my, has nothing to do with that. My head's just heavy and I just need to hold it up a little. All right, now I am. There he is. There he is. There he is. You know, I know it's how your shirt, how it's designed,
Yeah.
but on screen it looks like it's blurred out. like what does his shirt say? Look. Oh, you can't see when you turn around.
It does.
See how it looks?
Yeah.
I don't know if the camera's having trouble adjusting or something. And
It
then
says good luck, efforts.
I was asking the stream if, you know, you got the thing where you can wash the gray or brush the gray out. Is there a thing where you could just go ahead and brush the gray in? Because, I mean, you know, I might as well just
Just go all the way.
just go ahead. It's going to get there eventually anyway. Or I go straight up Hulk Hogan and just dye it black. I've had a Fu Manchu before, so I could pull that off if I had to. I don't know if I could get it as fluffy as his is, though. That would be annoying. Maybe he uses some sort of softener or something. Can you put softener in your beard?
I do put softener in my beard.
Okay. All right. I just wake up and go, hey, ain't no food in it. Let's go to work. Yeah, I don't drink coffee, Joe. So that's, yeah.
The Rob Brown Show on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Rob the Great One with you. 844-FAN phone, 844-FANFONE. That's 844-326-3663. You can also shoot us a text, 71307, 71307. Start that text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. Texas said, it is amazing how Lonzo is salty when Clemson's doing well. Glad to know we live rent-free in your head.
Dude, I'm always salty. I don't know what you, we were just talking about the salty in my beard. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, it doesn't
You know,
turn off, guys.
It doesn't. Yeah, I just, this is who I am. And you did it to me. So if you don't like me that way, you shouldn't have did it to me.
You created this monster.
You did. Now live with it.
So Clemson. It's real simple. Beat Virginia tonight. You're dancing. Don't beat Virginia tonight. You may be dancing, but you're going to be clinched up on Sunday night waiting for the bracket to be announced. That's pretty much how this goes, right? I think if you get the dub over the Cavs, who are a lock, it elevates you to a lock. I think at that point you will have done enough. How do you feel about it? Are you apprehensive? Do you think you can get it done tonight? The answer is yes, right? The question mark is, can Brad Brownell's squad, for the first time since he has been the head coach for the Tigers, can he take a team that has yet to win back-to-back ACC tournament games during his tenure? Can he change that? If he does, you're dancing. If not, you are waiting for the selection committee on Sunday to decide if that win last night was exclamation point enough to overwrite a couple of the bad losses. That's all this comes down to. We'll talk more about that later on in the show. However, also last night, North Carolina becomes, and I mean this sincerely, the single most disappointing team in the history of college basketball. That is not an exaggeration, in my opinion. I tried to come up with a team last night that was more disappointing. North Carolina was kind of riding the high of knocking off two of the powerhouses in the Big Ten, Michigan and Ohio State, all the way back in December. And at the time, it looked like those two wins would elevate North Carolina into contender status. But then Michigan got their bubble burst getting bounced in the Big Ten. Ohio State finished second to last in the Big Ten. Those
they
two
won last night though. So
They did win last night. They are in the quarterfinals and a run deep into the Big Ten. I mean, I think the Buckeyes probably have to win the tournament to get in. But they're still playing. Michigan's not, right? So those two dubs. See, it's not just you, Clemson. Those two dubs that Carolina had over the two supposed to have been powerhouses in the Big Ten, turned out to be not that. Carolina had some real ugly losses along the way that they had to deal with as well. Every year, there's a disappointing team or three at the college basketball March Madness level. But since the field expanded to 64 back in 1985, every single preseason number one has made the field. Nearly 2/3 of those teams have landed number one seeds. All but 3 of them have been a 3 seed or better. Only 2013-14 Kentucky failed to secure at least a 5 seed. And those Wildcats had an underachieving regular season, went as in an 8 seed, and made the national championship game that year. So they pulled it together. Carolina missed the NCAA tournament. This is not a question to me anymore. Carolina is still widely considered a bubble team by most of the bracketology experts right now. But no, I can't put them in, right? Now, granted, the team that gave them the boot from the ACC tournament, the Virginia Cavaliers, as I mentioned yesterday on the show, I think is the best team in the ACC. Miami's the 1 seed. Virginia's the 2. If they played right now, I'd take Virginia on the money line. I think they're a better team. But it was the compiled losses for Carolina. It was failing to get to 20 wins for North Carolina. And then it wasn't just that they got beat last night. It was that Virginia in the second half built up a double-digit lead, and Carolina was capable of doing nothing with it. They couldn't reel in the who just ran away from them. North Carolina was preseason number 1, and why wouldn't they be? Armando Bacot, Caleb Love, RJ Davis, Leaky Black. 4 of the 5 starters from a natty team were back this year. That is unheard of in college basketball. It just does not happen. That you get 4 of 5 starters back from a national championship team.
No, all that says is they weren't good enough to go to the NBA.
I disagree. I think Armando Bacot is NBA ready.
Why didn't he go?
Some guys just want to play college ball.
I'm just saying the perception is if you don't go to the NBA when you can, you're not good enough to get there.
And I don't have a problem with the perception, but there are exceptions to every rule, right? And I think North Carolina did an excellent job of convincing these guys, 2 of whom are definitely NBA ready. The other 2 are probably late second-round draft picks.
I'm curious. It won't matter to you, but I am curious if all those guys got NIL money.
I have no idea, but it wouldn't matter. They would not be what they would get in the league, right? Even if you go G League, you're looking at $500,000 a year.
Unless they were uncertain that they were going to get all that money, so they stayed and got the guaranteed money that they get with the NIL.
Maybe I will once again express my absolute shock and awe at Lonzo's cynicism.
I'm trying to look at all that. I'm trying to look at all the angles, dude, about why they would actually stay in school when you could go to the NBA if you say they're good enough to go to the NBA.
They are, but my question would be, and I have to phrase it this way, as I did yesterday. My question would be, is there a possibility that maybe these 4 guys went, all right, we just played in a national championship. We lost on a last-second heave that didn't go down for us, right? That absolutely could have. If all 4 of us come back, we're preseason number 1, and we are the heavy favorites to win another natty. Is it possible they just wanted to come back and be able to call themselves national champions?
Come on. So you're trying to say that there are players out there that might be loyal to a school No. It's 2023. They don't do that. There's got to be something nefarious behind it.
That's cynicism.
It's got to have something to do with money.
Doesn't it feel good to come to the dark side?
It's got to have something to do with money.
Doesn't it feel good to drop your Mr. Sunshine
By
moniker?
the way, Sunshine will always exist. And the other thing is, I am the heel of the show. So quit acting like I know you want to be. There are certain fan bases I will always be the heel. It just seems like in this day and age, and it's not just recently, for a while, that's what's made college basketball not nearly as good. The fact that they saw you do it again on the screen, that was pretty cool. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Hopefully we'll get him on the air soon. And if you have no idea what we're talking about, that's because you're not watching the stream on Facebook and YouTube, and Twitch and Twitter, and you need to do that.
Correct. Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate. Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate. Go to YouTube, search and subscribe to The Rob Brown Show or The Fan Upstate. Go to Twitch, search and subscribe to The Rob Brown Show. I will also tell you that yesterday after the show was over, spent some time with our corporate overlords, and we, as of now, will be pulling clips from the show and posting them as well. So if you can't check in for all 3 hours, our highlight clips will be pulled and posted to the Fan Upstate's YouTube channel as well. Make sure you check that out.
I think I'm going to post some. It's just going to be when you leave the room and me just looking at the screen.
Monzo takeover.
That's just me looking at it. I don't need to take over.
like it.
I mean, that's acting like I'm, not part of the thing. So I'd have to take over. Come on. So you don't think it has anything to do with you really think it has to do with loyalty, that they wanted to come back and win a national
I have
championship?
no idea.
It's just unusual with the supposed mentality of what players are right now, wanting to jump around and go. I believe the kids say, get that bag.
Get that paper.
Okay.
I listen.
It just felt wrong even trying that. I'm sorry.
My stance on this, as it is with everything else, is that I do not have a reason to believe anything until I'm given a reason to believe anything, right? So
Trust but verify?
yeah, I don't have a reason to believe that they stayed to be national champions. I don't have a reason to believe they stayed to make NIL money. I don't have a reason to believe they stayed. I don't have any, scratch that. I don't have a reason to have a belief on why they stayed, whether they stayed for money or they stayed for.
So you don't ponder that at all about what the reasons are behind it, because there might be really good reasons.
Sure. I am very curious as to why you were able to keep, and here's why.
The most important thing is the why. It's not the where. It's not the who. It's none of that. It's the why. Why was this done? Why were they thinking this? Did they get together collectively and go, you want to come back? Yeah, you want to come back? Okay, let's come back.
Absolutely. I'm very curious as to why. I'm just not going to offer a reason on their behalf, right? Because I can sit here and I can guess it's because these four guys recognized that they were bringing back 4 starters from a national championship, plus a handful of backups who were there for that run last year and understand what it takes to get back to that point. That they were going to go into it as preseason number 1, as the overall betting favorite to win a national championship this year. And they looked at each other and went, you know what? As much as I want to be an NBAer, I want to be a national champion, and nobody's got a better chance to do that than us. Or there's the chance that an NIL collective called and said $750,000 to every one of you to come back for one more year. And they went, hell yeah, that's more than I'll make in the G League. So let me give that a run, right? I don't know. So I'm not gonna guess which one of those is true. All I'm gonna say is they did come back. They did suit up this year. They did open the year as preseason number 1. And they are going to go down as the single most disappointing team in the history of college basketball. The history of the game. We talked about that Kentucky team. Started the year as preseason number 1, ended up as an 8 team, but they made a run to the national championship game. So that's not disappointing. No other preseason number 1 has failed to at least make the tournament. Now, a couple of them got bounced in round 1, but they made the dance. They gave themselves a chance. North Carolina, pardon me, didn't even make the show. This is the most disappointing season. Now, if you would like to have the discussion about why these guys came back, sure. But you and I both know it is nothing more than speculation. I have not heard from Armando Bacot why he decided to come back. I have not heard from Caleb Love or RJ Davis or Leaky Black why they decided to come back and not go to the show, to the league. Maybe it's because of the bag. Maybe it's because they wanted the opportunity to call themselves natty winners. It doesn't matter. I would, as I said a second ago, 1,000% like to know why they decided to come back. And here's why. Because I want my coach of my favorite team, whoever it might be. Don't you think Lamont Paris would love to know why Armando Bacot come back so that he can go to Gigi Jackson and go, hey, Armando came back because blank. I think it's a great reason, and I think you should consider running it back one more time in Columbia, right? I'm going to have an actual recruiting off season. I'm going to have some actual roster management opportunities. We're not going to have just guys who transferred in because Frank Martin's guys followed him up to New York or wherever he is now, right? I get to put my stamp on this team, and I think if you come back, we can build this roster around you, and we can elevate you before you move on. Bacot did it. Love did it. Davis did it. Black did it. And now you should too. I think it could fundamentally change the way that coaches communicate with one-and-done players. But all of that is largely irrelevant because it didn't work, right? Because that's the flip side of that coin. Is if if Lamont Paris knows why Love, Davis, Black, and Bacot came back, and he goes, hey, Gigi, here's why these cats came back. You should do it too. Gigi could look at him and go, yeah, coach, but they came back and they sucked. They were significantly worse than the year before.
I think maybe they decided, we're going to come back and we're going to win the NIT. That was their goal.
Yeah, let's go play at Madison Square Garden, boys. But again, isn't that the question? What went wrong? How did a team that runs back 80% of its starters from a national championship run in March Madness fail to make it the next year? I'll tell you this. You got a guy over there who is currently a brand new head coach. Hubert Davis took over for Roy when Roy left. Called it a day. Doesn't want to deal with NIL. Doesn't want to deal with the portal. He's done. Hubert Davis steps in. A guy that Carolina fans were pretty excited about. And now all of a sudden they're looking going, we might have screwed the pooch here, right? We might should have done an actual coaching search. This is the danger of we need a Michigan man or an Ohio State man or a North Carolina guy. Just because he's from there doesn't mean he's that caliber of a coach, right? And I think Hubert Davis is now going to have some stuff to answer for. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we'll take a look at some of the other teams that are still on the bubble as we get set for the quarterfinals of the Power 5 conference tournaments taking place around the country. Who else is on the bubble? Who else can fight their way in? Coming up later on in the show, NFL free agency. I'm going to give you a look at the top 15 free agents on the board right now, and we'll see if any of them could end up landing with the Panthers in Charlotte. There's a couple of fits that would save Carolina some draft picks. Do we want to make that move? We'll talk about that coming up later in the show. And at 11:20, Fanboy Friday, because it's Friday, and I want to. Get off me. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate.
Get off me, dog.
Get off me, dog. Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun. All right, I'm going to go grab a Gatorade, guys. Stay right there. We will be back in 30 seconds.
Your business gets its refund. Many businesses believe they won't qualify based on incomplete or outdated information. So don't let this opportunity pass you by.
You know, Kevin, because it's Friday and I don't want you to feel left out like you were yesterday when it took me a while to acknowledge you. Dude, sometimes you go to some weird places. That's all I'm saying. That's just, I mean, I hope this is you turned up to 11. If not, look out weekend. And by the way, I have dyed the bottom parts of my hair red, never the entire thing, because you don't want me as a ginger. That's a good question, Steven, but he's not looking at the stream right
Hang
now.
on 1 second. I'm answering actual work questions.
Allegedly.
No, we're getting questions about how to operate the stream.
From who?
The only other person who operates the stream,
Oh, you talking the stream? You're
Yes.
talking about?
not our stream. For Deesa's got questions about it for offsides.
Well, you know, I don't know if he knew this, but we're kind of doing a show right now. Why didn't he ask me? I would text him back and tell him he's welcome to come and sit in and watch how, you know, how it's done and everything. I would do the I don't know in a Pee-wee voice, but I can't do that. And now I hear tequila in my head. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Like 4 or 5 weeks ago, Courtney and I went out for one of the rare nights where we're out past 11 o'clock. And we ended up at a bar doing karaoke, which I hated. And the only redeeming quality was there was a guy there who got pushed up on the stage to do karaoke by the rest of his guys. I'm assuming like fraternity brothers. And he did Tequila as his karaoke song. And I was like, I respect that because you've done 2 things.
All you gotta do is dance and say tequila.
He didn't even dance. He literally just stood there with a mic like this and then went, tequila. Like, didn't even really like tequila. Nope, tequila.
Yeah, but is that the guy you want to hang with, though?
Yes.
No,
And I'll
come
tell you why.
on.
I'll
Come
tell you why.
on.
Because
That's something I would do. You
here's
don't
why.
want to.
Here's why I loved
I
it.
mean,
Because the thing that ruins karaoke is the people who, you know what? I'm doing this on the air.
okay. You do that.
All right, so I need to do more sports, and I will. But I gotta tell this story real quick. Because a handful of nights ago, I gained a new appreciation for a form of art that I didn't know existed. For those of you that have listened to the show for any duration of time, you know that I despise karaoke. Okay? You guys have a joke list of things Rob Brown hates, most of which you've put on the list I don't actually hate. But the thing that absolutely goes at the top of that list is karaoke.
No, the list is correct.
No.
Never doubt the list.
But the top of the list is karaoke. I despise karaoke night. Now, as a concept, karaoke's fine. As a concept. But there are people who ruin it for everybody. And these are the people that go to karaoke night to actually perform karaoke. Karaoke's fine if you and the rest of the gang are out there having a couple of cold brewskis, relaxing, unwinding, and you all go, we can't sing and we know that, so let's just have some fun. Then I would get it. Then it's fine. Then it's understandable. Where you lose me is the people who show up thinking they can sing, and they are going to perform. And the only thing worse than them is the people who actually can sing go up there and put on a master class, and then the rest of us are like, yeah, no, I'm not following that, right? Like, that girl can actually pipe. I'm not going to go up there and perform a terrible Garth Brooks rendition following that. The only
All right. See, this thing is a problem because you can sing. So quit acting like you can't.
No.
So you would go up and you would take the challenge and you would outdo that girl.
No, not a chance.
I have every confidence in you. We, the Armada, have every confidence
That's
in you.
great. It's a great way to try to trick your guy into getting up there and doing karaoke when he doesn't want to. But I found a new appreciation for a new type of karaoke guy. Handful of weeks ago, lady friend and I are out for one of our rare nights out on the town. We just we don't go out as a couple as much as we used to.
Old.
Yes, correct. Now, you can still find Rob Brown out every now and then on a Friday, but the two of us don't go out as often as we used to because more often than not, especially like she's got a new full-time job. I have 47 of them.
Come on. You only have 27.
Feels like it.
Unless you got more that I don't know about.
Working on it. So it's just like more often than not, if we are both off on the same night, then we're just like, what if we just stay home and watch more murder documentaries? Okay. So anyway, we went out and accidentally found ourselves in a bar doing karaoke. There was a group of dudes, probably in their mid to late 20s, prime karaoke years. We went to a bar, group of guys, mid to late 20s, doing karaoke, and they were all rotating through. Two of the guys in the group could actually sing. One of them was doing like old country standards. One of them was doing like contemporary pop stuff, but they could actually sing a little bit. And there was one guy in the group who they were trying to coerce into performing a song who did not want to. And eventually, they basically peer pressured the guy on stage, all right? And I felt for him because I don't want to do it either. So they peer pressured the guy on the stage. He goes up there. The DJ drops his song, and it's Tequila. Dun, 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 da, 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 da. The guy gets the microphone. He stands at the front of the stage. He's not dancing around to the music. He's not acting it out. He didn't bring up a shot of tequila, as a joke. He just stands there at the front of the stage. Dun, 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 dun. Tequila. Doesn't even sing the word, just says the word, right? Just says the word tequila. Tequila. But the best part of this, so the jam starts going. My man's standing at the front of the stage. His boys are all like, yeah, let's go, Aaron, or whatever his name was. The music's jamming. My guy's just blankly staring at the crowd, watching him, enjoying the pain. And I realized there was pain in the crowd because about half of the crowd was there not to sing karaoke, but to perform karaoke, to put on a show. And here's my guy with the mic standing on the stage, looking out, going, tequila, right? So I'm looking around at the crowd.
And that's all I did.
Yes.
Just
tequila,
okay.
right? And I realized something. And this is where the art form came in. This is where I found a happy place I didn't know existed. Because as I look around, there was a group over in the corner of probably 3 or 4 that were the theater kids, And I was a theater kid. I'm not mad at it. I was a thespian back in my day. They came to perform.
I was gonna say no one in the audience is shocked by that, but
Not
okay.
at all, I know. So they're ready to perform, and this guy's going, tequila. And I realized that the happiness in Rob Brown's black soul was created because these theater kids came out to perform. And instead of getting their time on the stage, you know, 'cause karaoke, it's like 3 hours and then it's done. The DJ wants to go home. They came to perform. They came to put on a show. These kids were singing Broadway musicals, not like the songs that you would typically think at karaoke, like crowd favorites where everybody, no. They're up there singing like Hamilton songs.
So the bar had Hamilton songs.
Oh, most karaoke places will have Broadways.
Will
like
they?
they'll have musicals. Oh, yeah.
That's a reason for me to never go in there.
76 trombones come. Okay, they're like performing musicals and stuff because they're there to perform for the crowd. This guy gets up there. How long's that song?
2 minutes and 11 seconds.
So for 2 minutes and 11 seconds of the limited karaoke time when these theater kids could perform, could live their dream one more night, could get up there and feel the music in their soul and deliver their truth to the world by singing Andrew Lloyd Webber tunes. They gotta wait. And they gotta watch Aaron, a guy who hates this with every fiber of his being, for 2 minutes and 11 seconds, hold the bar hostage when they could be up there sharing their joy, their love of song with the world. Aaron's up there going, tequila.
You're
And
right.
making everybody suffer through it. And Rob Brown's icy interior wanted to hug this man because I realized the pain and the torment that he was putting karaoke fans through by wasting 2 minutes and 11 seconds of their joy, their happiness, their love with the world. He wasted it by just saying tequila 4 times into a microphone and leaving like the American hero that he is, was, and forever shall be.
You're right. Your soul is dark. There's some people that will never be able to do what you've done and be on stage and sing on stage. And karaoke is their only shot for that feeling. And you know that feeling, and I know that feeling of being on stage and what that feels like. And you want to rob them of that.
Yup.
Heartless.
Yup. Sure do. See, when Rob Brown's band plays a show, we get paid for it. You know why? Because we're good. Because we're good. Because we practice and we work and we build group cohesion and we're good. And people travel to come see us play shows. I did not go to a bar in downtown Greenville to watch you sing some terrible song from a Broadway musical nobody's ever seen before because you think the world needs to experience it. No, we don't. No, we don't, Lindsay. None of us need it. Anyway, sports when we come back, probably. The Rob Brown Show's under video. It's the Fan Upstate.
Okay, through that whole thing, the one thing that I don't get,
Tequila.
who the heck is Lindsay?
Lindsay's the name of every karaoke girl.
Is it
That
really?
feels like she is there to make your life better by performing for you. No, Lindsay. I want to have a scotch, talk about baseball with my friends, and listen to the same 50 bar songs on repeat. I'm not here for you, Lindsay.
So the person you were there with, did they enjoy it?
Oh, we left.
Brought down the house.
Courtney does not
we
share my
out.
disdain of karaoke.
I know. That's why I
At
mean
all.
I've heard the stories.
And
So-
with enough vodka cranberries, she will be on stage. And obviously, I will cheer her on because I'm her biggest fan.
Are
not you,
Are
Lindsay.
you truthful afterwards?
Yes, I support everything she does, even when I don't like what she's doing,
Okay.
because I'm her biggest fan. Not you, Lindsay. I don't know you. I don't know you like that.
What if Lindsay was a big fan of the Rob Brown Show?
Then I hope she's not listening to that segment
Okay. All right.
because I said what I said, and I stand by it.
Thing is, though, now Rob's seen it. He can't do it. You can't do the tequila
Shoot,
thing.
watch
It's
me.
already been done, though.
Watch me.
That's
because I realize
you're gonna copy like that.
I realize unless you can find me another song that's 2 minutes and 30 seconds with no words in it,
Wipeout.
that's brilliant. I should ask for Wipeout at karaoke and not dance to it. Just go stand on the
The
stage.
only time
and
you
when
gotta
it's
say
over,
Wipeout is right at the very beginning of the song, if I recall.
Wipeout.
And then you're done.
And then I'm done.
Then you're done.
And listen, the DJ is going to start lowering the volume, right? Going, there's no words to the song. I need to get him off there. He's going to start lowering the volume, and I'm not moving. I'm not moving. No, Beef. It was Beef.
Yeah, Meat's a totally different guy.
Beef stole Rachel, and let's just say in retrospect, very thankful to Beef. Very thankful to Beef. Made my life better without knowing it.
So you're saying you no longer have beef with Beef?
I don't have beef with Beef. I mean, I do. Like, going home and knocking boots with somebody you know is in a relationship is a pretty crap move.
Yeah.
But I'm also glad he did it because now I'm here. You know what I mean?
There you
It
go.
worked out for me.
You still suck, Beef.
You still suck, Beef. Don't get busy with somebody you know's in a relationship. But thanks for getting busy with somebody in a relationship because my life is way better off now. If you take the mics out of utility, they don't go to StreamYard, right? So you don't technically need to mute and unmute on StreamYard. You can just pop it in and out of utility.
I can.
Okay.
When I showed him the other day, I showed him a couple different ways. When you're hot, ain't in it. It's hard to retain. Or maybe you're just a better teacher. Perhaps my instructions were too haughty. Maybe my smile.
Probably that.
Maybe my smile was too broad.
Probably that. Dun, 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 dun,
That would be
dun,
to
dun,
imply
dun,
that when
dun,
I
dun,
teach
dun,
someone,
dun.
I do it in arrogance, and that I'm not trying to get the most out of the student.
Which, of course, is not the case.
I will have you know that I have trained many an outstanding citizen who've gone on to bigger and better things.
I just got targeted for an ad from a new app called Fat Guy Yoga. I'm having to really process my emotions here. Are you fat, but also too out of shape to lift weights? Try Fat Guy Yoga. Kevin, I would absolutely drop some Limp Bizkit.
It is the
Joey B said, I could be both the theater kid and the tequila guy. For the record, Joe, me too. I could absolutely get up there and be the theater kid or the tequila guy, but I'm going to be the tequila guy because I choose chaos.
Yes, do it.
I
Chaos.
choose suffering.
I was going to recite the Sith Credo, but he already knows it. He lives it. That's a good question, Stephen. We'll wait till he looks at it. I'm not going to say it.
So during the break, I go scroll social media, right? Because if a sports story breaks, it's gonna be on social media almost immediately, right? Like that's what it's there for.
Which is why, by the way, I'm constantly looking at the screens looking for breaking news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if we're gonna get breaking news on the show, more often than not, we're gonna catch it via social media. So I jumped on the social to scan and see if I missed anything, but obviously along with social media comes targeted advertising, right? The algorithm looks at the post that you interact with, and then it starts to advertise you products based on that. I jumped on social during the break, and as I was scrolling through it, I got targeted for an ad called Fat Guy Yoga. Fat Guy Yoga.
So the way you're saying that there's a question there, like you might actually be interested in it, and you're trying to see if anybody out there knows about it. That's what I'm gathering from
It's
how you just worded that.
It's not that.
Oh, okay, all
It's
right.
not that. But I love that social media just went, "Hey Rob, you're fat and also lazy. Would you like to try yoga that takes it easy on you, you
Well,
slob?"
But here's the question, though: if you're doing fat guy yoga and you lose weight while doing fat guy yoga, do you get kicked out of fat guy yoga because you're no longer a fat guy?
I don't know. Like, does it, like, at some point, does it shift away? Like, they're like, "Congratulations on not being a fat guy. Would you like to do just regular lazy yoga?"
It's like turning 18 and getting kicked out of Menudo.
Are you less fat now? Would you like to do plump guy yoga?
Yeah, it's okay. All
Would you
right.
like to do dad bod yoga?
Yeah, that's across the hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to more sports. I am very intrigued by this Lamar Jackson thing. Rob, this is like segment number 4 this week on Lamar. Yes, I am aware. Lonzo Pop Quiz, what's the most important position on the field in the National Football League?
Kicker.
Some games.
Ask Ohio State about that.
Fair enough. Quarterback. It's quarterback. We all know it's quarterback. The league has created a world in order to generate more offense and more touchdowns. The league has created a world where quarterback's the most important position on the field. And you're at a point where you've got to have a top-notch quarterback if you're going to be a contender. It's not an option anymore. You have to have one. And so, while there are multiple guys out there available for trade at different positions, the world has skidded to a stop, keeping an eye on a few names: Rodgers, Wentz, Ryan, Garoppolo, Jackson. And the order those names are in are the order by which these guys have performed combined with their youth: Jackson, Rodgers, Garoppolo, Ryan, Wentz. That's the order of attractiveness of the quarterbacks available for either trade or free agency when it comes down to it. So, the world stands still waiting to see where these guys come off the board. And unless you follow the Rob Brown philosophy, which I brought up yesterday on the show, you're pretty much waiting to see, are the Ravens going to trade Lamar? Are the Packers going to trade Aaron Rodgers? Once those two cards get pulled off the board, then at that point, I think you will really start to see an acceleration of movement around free agency, around the trade block, and around draft picks being moved. The interesting thing about Lamar Jackson, and Lonzo made an excellent point on Wednesday's show after the non-exclusive franchise tag was applied to Lamar. Non-exclusive franchise tag, for the 7 of you that have been under a rock since Tuesday afternoon, says that any team in the National Football League can now negotiate with Lamar Jackson. If they sign him to an offer sheet, right? Somebody offers him a contract and he goes, "I would play for that." The Baltimore Ravens have an opportunity to match that contract sheet, that offer sheet, and Lamar would maintain his status as a Baltimore Raven. If the Ravens elect not to match that offer sheet, then he would be signed to the team that offered it, and they would have to send 2 first-round picks back over to Baltimore to acquire the services of Lamar Jackson. 2 first-round picks, regardless of how you feel about Lamar Jackson, injury concerns, whatever, lack of playoff victories. 2 first-round picks is a steal. It's a steal. The value that the Chicago Bears are going to get to move from 1 to somewhere inside the top 7 or 8 is going to be greater than 2 first-round picks. That's for C.J. Stroud. That's for Bryce Young. That's for Will Levis. That's for Anthony Richardson. Those guys
are going to be moved for a lower asking price than a team could theoretically get Lamar Jackson for, with the addendum that Lamar Jackson also is going to want fat stacks of dollar bills, right? So there's a combination of the rookie deal that you will get a Stroud or a Young or a Richardson or a Levis versus Lamar, who wants a Deshaun Watson-esque contract, right? Remember at one point, the Ravens put on the table an offer for roughly the same amount of money that Deshaun is getting, but they only offered to guarantee about $130 million of it. So they were leaving about $100 million not guaranteed, and Lamar went, no, that's not what I want. Since then, there have been little to no conversations about extending that contract in Baltimore, creating a situation where the conversation is genuine now. Can Lamar Jackson be moved? It would take two things. A team willing to give him, I'm going to guess, around 190 to 210 guaranteed, plus non-guaranteed money that equals Deshaun Watson's contract. And would they be willing to move to first for that? I can't imagine a situation where there's not a single NFL team that thinks that Lamar Jackson's not worth 2 first-round picks. He is. End of discussion. He is. Now, is he worth 2 first-rounders and $200 million guaranteed? That's up to you to decide. My answer is hell yeah, absolutely. But I understand I'm not the authority figure. On Wednesday night and into Thursday morning,
I guess this is breaking news because we're going to start seeing some things like this. The Vikings have released wide receiver Adam Thielen.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And he was just on the NFL Network's Combine coverage. There was for NFL Plus, so they had coverage with. He was over there with Senior and Kurt Warner.
Let's write that on the back burner because we got to come back to that. That's a.
See, the problem is there are like 3 stories saying plan to, and then there's one that says he has been released.
Who says he has been?
Bleacher Report. And then I looked it up on some other ones saying they've parted ways. But anyway, Vikings 2 release according to NFL. See, that's why it was should I hit the glass or not? But because one source, so you're saying you don't trust Bleacher Report? Tom Pelissero is the one who's reporting that they are releasing him.
Pelissero's good
Today.
I'll work
So
with that.
and that's one of the other reasons why I went ahead and hit it. Fox Sports is saying released.
All right,
So we have multiples
All right.
saying that.
we'll come back. I'm a little shocked. I'm a little shocked by that. Cap casualty, but it's still a little shocked.
Yeah, how many more are we going to see that? And the first thing you go is, ooh, does this guy fit on my team?
Adam Thielen fits on any team.
I was going to say, we'll take him on the Chiefs.
All right, we'll come back to that in a minute because that's big time. That's big time. We'll come back to that. Lamar gets the non-exclusive franchise tag. Within an hour, 2 hours, Atlanta says they are out. He would be a perfect fit there. Carolina says they are out. I believe he'd be a good fit there. Washington says they are out. Anybody is going to be a better fit in Washington. Just about every team looking for a quarterback said they're out on Lamar immediately. Now, as I've pointed out then, and I'll point out here as well, it is hashtag smokescreen season. We are at a point, weeks out from the NFL draft, where teams are doing everything they can do to cover up what their actual plans are, right? They are doing everything they can do to not tip the cards so that nobody else jumps in and drives the price up on them. We see that happen all the time where a team will feign some interest to drive the asking price up so that their divisional rivals have to maybe pay more than the market price might theoretically be. Do I think that Atlanta, Carolina, Washington, Seattle, Detroit, hell, LA, by the way, the Rams are apparently making phone calls about moving Jared Goff. You think Sean McVay wouldn't want Lamar Jackson in LA?
See,
Of course he would.
Here's the thing, and I said this the other day, and I've seen some other on some of the TV sports talk shows saying what I said. You're going to have to revamp your offense if you bring him in. So are you willing to reshuffle
I don't think Sean
a lot
McVay
of
does.
things? You have to.
I don't think Sean McVay does.
There's a reason why when early on Lamar struggled and then they reworked the offense for what he does well. So he became that offense.
Let me say this in response to that. And then I want to get to some of the comments from these agents because we've heard from the players. I think that's a misnomer. Lamar Jackson last year averaged 11 rushes a game. Now that's going to, of course, be higher than Matt Ryan, not Ryan. It's not but 3 or 4 rushes a game higher than Baker Mayfield. You telling me Atlanta's got to rework their offense? They had Marcus Mariota last year. Even if it was a dramatic rework, which it's not, Mariota's also a guy that rushes 11 plus times a game. Even if it was a dramatic shift in the offensive workings in Atlanta, to go from Desmond Ridder to Lamar Jackson, yeah, you boys are going to put in an extra hour of work a day to revamp the offense.
I don't recall the media outcry about a player like this. About, well, why? Why wouldn't they want him? Because they don't. I mean, you know, there are some teams that are like, yeah, we'll pass. We plan on going this direction. And it should be okay for them to do that. Not, well, what's wrong with you? Well, what's wrong with him? Why would you say that? Well, maybe they already have a plan in place and he's not part of it.
Multiple teams expressed interest in Aaron Rodgers. Multiple teams expressed interest in Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is a slightly less mobile version of Lamar Jackson. There were 5 teams, including 3 that have said they were immediately out on Lamar.
Before all the troubles, before all the Deshaun Watson troubles, if you ask me who I'd rather have, Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson, I would say Deshaun Watson.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, because I think he's a better all-around quarterback.
I disagree, but I'm fine with that as your conclusion. I'm not going to fist fight you over that. Okay. What I will say is, while it's fine to say that before all the troubles, teams said that after.
He's not that good right now, though. He was.
Absolutely. I don't disagree. I wonder how much the off-the-field stuff had an impact on Deshaun's ability to play football, though that is not the most important of the 2 stories, right? But the point here is that when Deshaun Watson was available, Atlanta was in. Carolina was in. Washington was reported to be in on Deshaun Watson, which is unshocking, Dan Snyder. But those teams were all in on Deshaun Watson, even when the asking price was being driven up by the fact Lamar Jackson goes out as available for discussion. And every one of those teams plus more immediately went, no, we're not interested.
So what this is going to do in the future is it's going to do what everyone who does a football show is going to be upset about, because they're just not going to say anything. So you're not going to find anything, because if you do, well, they were in on this. Why are you not in on him? There must be some reason. Maybe the reason is he doesn't fit on your team as a player, and that's okay. But now you're being overly scrutinized for some reason because of this particular player, and it's going to make them shut up. It's going to make them shut up completely, and it might end up costing some people their jobs, insider guys, because they can't find anything out because of what the media is doing right now. People are being destroyed because they said we're out. How dare they? What is wrong with him? What is wrong with? Why would they not? They outrageous.
All right, so let's say 2 things. Number 1, I am not going to not have this discussion because you have told me some nameless, faceless insider might have his job threatened. I don't care. That's not my worry. It's not my concern. All right. Why are you so heartless? Number 2.
We've already established about your darkened soul earlier in the show. So, I mean, you know.
Correct. None of this negates it being a fair conversation, right? Now, if you would like to make the argument that shifting the offense, changing your personnel to fit Lamar Jackson is just too difficult, that's fine. I am going to tell you that a consensus league MVP, that one of the best 5 quarterbacks in the National Football League who is available, unless you are the Chiefs, the Eagles,
the Bengals, the Chargers. Like, unless you've got already a top 5 quarterback, you do that for Lamar Jackson. It's worth it because the quarterback is so much more impactful than everybody else. So it doesn't make it unfair to ask the question, why is a guy that has 24 open lawsuits against him was for sexual inappropriateness, why was he sought after by half a dozen teams around the league? And a guy who not only has none of that, but if we're factoring in off the field stuff, Lamar Jackson is by all accounts, and again, I take every one of these with a grain of salt, but Lamar Jackson is by all accounts a model citizen. He's very impactful with charitable efforts in not one but 2 communities, both his home community down in South Florida and in Baltimore itself.
Why isn't Jimmy Garoppolo getting this kind of love? Why aren't people outraged that
Lamar
people aren't going,
Jackson.
come
Because he
on.
ain't Lamar Jackson.
Come on, he's one. I'm looking at Garoppolo's stats right now, which are pretty good. I don't have the winning percentage, but I would guess that he has a better winning percentage than Lamar Jackson, and it's probably one more playoff
Do you
game.
think Jimmy Garoppolo is as good as Lamar
I
Jackson?
just want to know where the outrage is. Where's the outrage?
Do you think Jimmy
Where's the
Gar-
outrage?
I'm
Where's
going
the
to tell you.
Where's the
as-
outrage
as-
of where? Why is Carson Wentz not on a team right now? Where's the outrage?
Do you think that either one of those guys is anywhere near Lamar Jackson?
I think Garoppolo is.
Do you think he's as good as Lamar Jackson?
I think he's a winner. Yes.
It's not what I asked.
You know what?
Is he as
You know
good
what I
as Lamar
think?
Jackson?
I think Garoppolo is a better fit at all these places who say they don't want Lamar Jackson than Lamar Jackson is, and definitely because you don't have to change your offense around. You don't have to. Well, you won't have to lose some draft picks and some other things to get him. Garoppolo is a better fit at more teams than Lamar Jackson
Do
is.
you think Jimmy Garoppolo is as good as Lamar Jackson?
I think he can win more. Yes.
Okay. We fundamentally disagree here. Fundamentally disagree.
Why? Why do we disagree?
Because Lamar
Where's the-
Jackson is better than
Where's the
Jimmy
outrage?
Garoppolo.
Is he?
Yes.
How many more games has he won?
You're once again factoring a team situation.
Yes,
into
I
an
am.
Individual
Yes, I am.
stat.
That's what this is about. It's about team and a fit to a
If
team,
Lamar Jackson
and Lamar
was a
doesn't
San
fit on the
If
team.
Lamar Jackson was a San Francisco 49er, they win the Super Bowl this year.
I don't know about that.
They
I mean,
win the Super Bowl this
I
year.
don't know about that. I don't.
I am fine to speculate. If Lamar Jackson
That's what we do here.
was a Kansas City Chief, you would still have the same level of success you have with Patrick Mahomes.
You know why?
He's that good.
No, because of who the head coach is.
Okay, so fine. So if we put Patrick Mahomes on the Raiders, he sucks.
He may not be as good.
Okay. And for the record, I agree with that element. Okay. I agree with that.
I wouldn't
So-
say sucks, but wouldn't be
If
as
we
good.
put Patrick Mahomes on the Ravens, are they a better football team than they are right now?
They would have to rework the entire team around to fit how Patrick Mahomes plays football. There's only one team that plays the way that Lamar plays, and that's the Ravens. That team, there was a big stink a couple years ago. They were trying to figure out what to do, and they decided we're going to work the offense around him. He's the only player that you have to do that for.
Here is breaking news. If your team sucks, like the Panthers or the Falcons or the Commanders or the Lions, well, the Lions didn't suck, but they certainly weren't great. If your team sucks, rework the team, right? Like, I'm not going to go, the team sucked, but I really don't want to reorganize the offense. Yes, I do. We suck. The Falcons stink.
That
You
counts.
rework the offense to get a better quarterback if you stink. Lamar Jackson's right there.
I want to stink over every other quarterback that's available.
By the way, Trey just made a great point. Lamar Jackson has been hurt less than Jimmy Garoppolo.
That's fine. That's fine.
Fewer times and for less duration.
Yeah.
That's fact.
That's fine.
So, all of that being said,
there's a lot of anger over there about Lamar Jackson.
because you
And-
just said Jimmy G's in the same class.
He
and
is.
I love Garoppolo.
He
but
is
he's
without
not.
a doubt.
He's
I
absolutely
want the same stink about every single quarterback. How dare they say that about that guy? You have to want that guy. No, you don't.
If Patrick
You know what? And
Mahomes-
if you don't want the guy, you should be able to say you don't want the guy without there being a media outcry about it.
because it makes if I throw a gold bar into the parking lot and nobody asks for it, I would go, this is really dumb.
Okay,
Why is nobody picking that up?
this one. I don't get the gold bar thing.
Gold bars are very valuable.
Yeah,
If I threw one down
I
and said-
understand
if I
about the
threw one
value of
down
gold.
and said it's free game right now, and everybody just walked past it, I'd be like, "This
No,
town is full of crazy
if
people."
you throw a gold bar out in the parking lot and say it's free game, no one's going to believe it's real gold because you work in radio.
That's painfully true. Jimmy Garoppolo is not as good as Lamar Jackson. We just talked about the impact teams have on quarterbacks, same as the impact the quarterbacks have on a team. If Lamar Jackson had Kyle Shanahan and the offense that the San Francisco 49ers had this year, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Now, I think it's
James
fair.
said he'll be angry because he ran over a brick in the parking lot.
It is fair to ask the question. I am, to be clear, not outraged that nobody's making a move for Lamar.
By the
I am
way,
confused.
I don't think Lamar's going anywhere, and I'm not confused. There's just too many parts that you have to move around to bring that guy in, and there's no guarantee you're going to get playoff wins. And in the end, it's a business, and what you're trying to do is win the championship. And obviously, there's some teams who don't think that they can do it with him. And you know what? They should be able to voice that opinion. We don't think we can do it with this guy. We think we can do it with this guy, but not with this guy. You know what? That's okay. And if they're wrong, that's okay. And if they're right, that's okay. But it has nothing to do with collusion, has nothing to do with anything. This has to do with they don't think that they can win with that guy. And there's this big outcry of conspiracy when there isn't one. We need to find and make a story out of something that's not a story.
I disagree entirely. If the Falcons believe that they can trot out Desmond Ridder and have the same success that they would have had if they got Lamar Jackson, as Samuel L. Jackson said, that's a stupid ass decision. Okay? And I elect to ignore it.
But a decision they should be able to make without people coming at them
No.
thinking that there's some reason why they don't want Lamar.
No. It's not a decision. If I am a Falcon fan predominantly, it is not a decision that I just ignore. Why is my team rolling out a guy who stunk last year and not making a move to get a Pro Bowl quarterback at the most important position on the field? I want an answer for that. And if you can't give me one that is a valid reason, then I have to then assume there is not a valid reason and be upset about it. You should always be looking to hold your team accountable. And if you think Desmond Ridder or Sam Darnold or Jared Goff or anybody else in that caliber give you a better chance to win than Lamar Jackson, yes, I don't want you as my general manager anymore because you clearly are bad at the job. All right, phone line is open, 844-326-3663. Text us 71307. Start your text with FAN, and we'll go from there. Got some thoughts coming in on the text line. We'll check those in when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Break out the Mighty Mouse high pitch voice. I don't have a mighty. I got a decent Mickey impression, but that's it.
I can do a mean Elmo, but if I do it, I can't talk the rest of the day. So
It's a weird impression to lose your voiceover.
it is. You know, I go put my all into it. So, you know.
I never even got to the agent quotes. That was the point of that discussion.
Either blame me or say you're welcome. I don't know which one you need.
Yes.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, For the ones who get it done.
Long put on the deck with 3 seconds with 2, 3 at the top of the key. It is no good. Just short. Kansas for the 4th time.
Don't ignore it. Call
You ever wonder why this particular break is so long?
CNT Foundation is different by design.
Is it longer than the rest?
Investor-driven sales
Always feels like it.
We're real, local, general contractors specializing in foundation repair. We won't sell you something you don't need. Holdings.
You left, came back, and there's still plenty of time left.
CNT Foundations, your foundation experts.
When you think about spring, good stuff springs to mind. You know, like spring break. Woohoo! A friend springing for drinks. A springy new step. Spring break always delicious. And best of all, spring was a pizza from the Mellow Mushroom Pizza Day. Yeah, baby. Experience the taste of spring with our amazing hand-tossed pies, spring fresh salads, and over 100 beers from around the world. Enjoy spring at the Mellow Mushroom on Augusta Street in Greenville, West Indies.
Sponsored by Corley Plumbing, Air and Electric.
At Corley Plumbing, Air and Electric, we offer flexible scheduling to meet your needs. Call Corley Plumbing, Air and Electric today or seek the line and book online. CorleyPro.com. CorleyPro.com.
Ryan tells it like it is.
You know, they say the first 2 days of March Madness, American businesses lose $6 billion in productivity because none of us are paying attention. So what is your strategy for the Madness?
You're not paying attention because you don't have to work.
College football, and notes, and a plan for success.
It used to apply to us, so they moved us.
Offsides with Mark Ryan. Upstate.
Ow. Never jump up in your chair. You never know what might be trapped when you laying back on your chair.
I got to be careful in this one because it's gotten to the point now that I'm pretty sure I'm going to eat it live on the stream one day.
As long as you're not impaled.
Let's go with that.
Early on, when I first, it was the old building, I had to lean back to push something, and the welds on the chair broke, and ended up with bruised ribs and had to go to the emergency room. I don't want to see that happen to you.
I don't want that to happen to me. Thank you. Let me give you a real quick thought on a story that I don't think has a real place on the show, but I have been asked about it multiple times this week. And that's a story going on where Tiger Woods' most recent girlfriend, Erica Herman, asked a judge to rescind the non-disclosure agreement that she signed when she began her relationship with Tiger Woods. Back on Wednesday, TMZ was able to.
Well, why do you do that? That's the best,
They suck.
the best investigative journalism on the planet.
Because they're just gross.
I agree their methods are horrible, but don't they find stuff out? And that's what you're supposed to do as an investigative reporter, right? Find stuff out. I guess I know you're staking out at someone's house or following them, which you shouldn't
just
do,
gross.
but it's just okay.
And it's more the way that they go about it.
But if TMZ reports something, you right away check it out,
gets
don't
caught
you?
on.
You,
Yeah.
you check it out
I
because
try to avoid it until it becomes something like this where I get asked about it 10 times and it's like, all right, I have to respond to it now. So TMZ acquired documents, court papers, that said Herman is seeking to nullify a non-disclosure agreement she alleges that Woods made her sign at the beginning of their relationship, which she lists back in August of 2017. Now, it is not that she is asking the NDA be rescinded. It's why. She asked that it be rescinded based on the Speak Out Act, which provides an exemption to NDAs in scenarios where there is evidence of sexual assault or harassment. Now, Tiger Woods had his multiple away from the golf course fiascos that led to the end of his marriage to Ellen Nordegren, the Swedish supermodel. Obviously, that all happened before the car accident on Thanksgiving a number of years ago. Tiger had his issues with alleged sex addiction that he got therapy for. Then he had his issues with controlled substances and an addiction to opioids led to him pleading guilty, if I recall correctly, to a charge of reckless driving. There was speculation that that car accident that nearly took his life and or his legs a couple of years back were caused by that, though that has been discredited since then. There's been a lot going on with Tiger, but Tiger made his return to the golf course. Tiger won the Masters. And it felt like whether or not you thought Tiger Woods deserved a second chance, it felt as though Tiger Woods took advantage of the help that was afforded to him, got his life back together. And Erica Herman was a big part of that. Erica Herman was the one who was in the hospital with him when he was recovering from that accident. By all accounts, they apparently had a very good relationship. Not only was Erica Herman very frequently seen at the majority of Tiger's tournaments, but was seen interacting with and being very happy with his kids, Charlie and Sam. In fact, it was reported that Erica Herman had gotten close to Elin Nordegren and that she was very frequently seen when they would go on vacations together with the kids, interacting with Elin Nordegren. And it seems like most everything had been forgiven. And Tiger had kind of entered this new phase in his relationship, which, frankly, was great for golf, right? Which, frankly, was great for golf to have Tiger Woods back. Tiger Woods moves the needle, and I would say I've got this with 95% confidence. Tiger Woods moved the needle for golf the way that LeBron moves it for basketball, the way that Messi moves it for soccer, the way that Trout moves it for baseball. Golf has never had a needle mover like Tiger Woods. So to have him back, even if he's aged, even if the injuries from those car accidents, for the most part, keep him from being a consistent week in, week out player. He shows up for the big tournaments. He makes a little noise, maybe might win one every now and then, and the needle moves for golf. It's great. So this story is one I'm going to follow, not because I want to dig into the personal lives of Tiger, although if Tiger Woods was indeed somehow sexually assaulting Erica Harmon throughout their relationship, that would pretty much ruin all of that, right? Tiger Woods would go right back to being in the hole that he was in post the relationship with Elin Nordegren. Now, I've defended Tiger in the past by saying Tiger Woods made one mistake. Now, this was pre the opioid addiction. This was pre the reckless driving, the DUI kind of caliber stuff. But I said Tiger Woods made one mistake. That one mistake was getting married. If Tiger didn't get married and he was sleeping around with 100 different women, I genuinely would not care. Because these are all adults that have the right to do whatever they want to do with their adult life as long as it's consensual. So if Erica Harmon breaks the NDA, comes out and is able to prove that Tiger Woods was acting inappropriately within their relationship, then yeah, I want him gone. I want him back front. And as painful as that would be for golf to lose its biggest needle mover, that's the right thing. That's what's right with the sport. Now, obviously, there are questions. Erica Herman is suing Tiger Woods for wrongful evictions. He is also seeking $30 million in actual and consequential damages. She claims that she came back from a vacation to find that Tiger Woods had hired people to come into his house, pack up all her stuff, and move it out. She claims that he did that. He claims that she had already voluntarily begun the process of leaving the premises, and therefore it was not a wrongful eviction.
I'm not making light of the situation, but is that how rich people do it? Because I know how poor people do it, or middle-class people do it. When you want someone out, you do it yourself. So rich people have someone come in and
Lonzo,
wow.
When you have Tiger Woods money, you don't have to do anything.
Okay. I've never heard of this before.
You don't have to do anything. One of my goals in life, not even haha funny, being dead serious. One of my goals in life is to make enough money where I can have somebody come in and prepare my food for me. I don't want to cook. I just want to have somebody who comes to my house, makes dinner, and then leaves. Or if I really like them, maybe they stick around and have dinner with us. I don't know. But somebody who makes my food for me.
I mean, if they're going to make the food, you kind of want them to stay around and clean up, don't you?
I would have somebody else to do the cleaning up.
Okay. All right.
So I don't, here's the ultimate thoughts on all of this. I don't know what's happened here. Erica Harmon, kind of a girl next door. You didn't know her name before this NDA drop. She's been with Tiger Woods 7 years. You didn't know her name.
How do you know I didn't know?
Did you know Erica Harmon's name?
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't. And I suspect outside of maybe a couple of diehard golf fans, very few of you guys did as well. It seemed by all accounts that Erica Herman was a big part of the Tiger Woods recovery story, and now this all happens. To finish the thought on this, the answer is I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know why. The concept of an NDA is not wildly unfamiliar for people of this stature either. This is something that's relatively common. It's like it's kind of the same setup as somebody like this getting a prenup before they marry somebody who is not in their bracket. I want to make sure that you are not doing this solely for the concept of the publicity of being with me, followed by the profit of being with me, right? And go back and think about it. When Tiger Woods had his divorce from Elin, you started having women with whom he was unfaithful in his marriage start writing books, showing up on TV shows, and getting paid lots of money
to talk about Tiger Woods away from the golf course. And in doing so, people were, even though Tiger Woods effectively did one thing wrong within the relationship side of it, which was cheating, right?
Wait. Yeah, but there were like multiple women.
Sure.
So that's more than one thing. I
Okay,
mean,
multiple cheatings,
okay.
plural.
All right.
And again, and this is the other part I warn you. There are people out there who are in relationships that are open. I don't care if you sleep with other people, right? And frankly, I'd almost guarantee you probably know somebody who's in that type of relationship. There are people who just don't care. That and the physical aspect of it is not something that is like way up on their priority scale.
If I do know, don't tell me. I'm talking to those specific people, whoever you may be. I don't want to know.
So there are women that go out and start profiting on Tiger by telling these gross stories to the normal person about Tiger. And Tiger wants to prevent that with anybody gets into a previous relationship or into a future relationship so that people don't get into a relationship with him solely to go, I'm going to date Tiger for 2 years and then I'm going to dump him and go out there and write a tell-all.
But at the same time, I get that. People wanting to get money. I get it, but I don't get it. But at the other aspect is this guy's a known cheater to the world, not just, to his circle or where he works, but to the world.
Sure.
You're taking a major chance doing that anyway.
I don't disagree with you. And for the record, I don't have any ill will towards the women with whom Tiger cheated, coming out and going, here's the lowdown nitty gritty, right?
Okay, because it kind of sounded like
No.
that. So
What I'm saying is some people do that, and Tiger Woods, by having any potential future romantic interest, spouse, whatever, sign an NDA is basically saying what you're not going to do is date me, dump me, and then get rich off of me, right? If you're going to do this, it's going to be in a situation where you can't profit from it to make sure that whoever's with me wants to be with me, not me as a source of income down the line. So I don't know what happened. I don't know why they broke up. I don't particularly care. It's their personal life as two consenting adults. All I will say is if she brings evidence to the table that Tiger Woods harmed her either sexually or with some sort of mental harassment, then I'll be done with Tiger Woods. He is not above that just because he's a great golfer. I'll be done with him. If not, if she can't bring it to the table, then just like with anything else, it kind of unfortunately is what it is in a he said, she said environment. But Tiger is not above acting like a decent human being because he's a great golfer, nor is any other athlete. She wanting out of the NDA does not mean he did anything wrong. I am also not also going to assume that he didn't. I'm just going to say it's got to play out. And outside of that, frankly, respectfully, it's not our business. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up this hour. Third hour of the show, gonna get weird. It's Friday. We are steaming towards the end of the week on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Miami 74-72 over Wake Forest. Number 21 Duke beat Pittsburgh 96-69. Semifinals today, Duke battles Miami. Clemson faces Virginia. Andre Svechnikov scored the only goal the Hurricanes needed in a 1-0 win over the Flyers in Raleigh last night. Peter Konchkov returned from the minors and made 19 stops in the win. The goaltender recalled from
200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket.
Lisa says she heard us talking about tacos yesterday. I want tacos now.
I could talk about tacos every day. I did not get a taco yesterday, though.
After all that, you didn't get a
I
taco.
know I didn't.
I didn't get a taco either.
I did, however. I've got to tell you what's
I had
growing
shrimp
on me.
and fries in the air fryer.
I love air fried shrimp.
Yeah.
It's a perfect little snack. Have you had Roost before?
I don't believe so.
Roost. I had Roost at the Well for the first time a couple weeks ago. Now I'm hooked. Roost does their chicken tenders. But before they batter them and fry them, they marinate them in a jalapeno mustard marinade. Then they shake them off and they bread them. They're phenomenal. They're phenomenal.
I don't know. Mustard and jalapeno. I don't. How much of a kick does it have?
Not very much.
Speaking of a kick, I keep waiting for this Volcanoes place to open up over here so I can see if you call your establishment Volcanoes, it's got to be spicy. Every time we go over there, though, they're closed. It's right over on the other side of Fuddruckers.
Is your tub worn out, but you're not sure who to
I probably
trust to
should
replace
do
it?
that
With over
thing.
2 million
No, I
successful
tried to do that thing and there was
you can
nothing
trust
there.
Bath
So.
because we know how to do it right. We've been custom designing and manufacturing baths for over 35 years. Our unique tub over tub installation faces
Tub over tub.
to fit your busy schedule. And we offer a lifetime warranty on every tub. That's how confident we are in our quality and durability. Bathfitter, it just fits. Visit bathfitter.com to book your free consultation.
The Venture X card from Capital One gives you premium travel benefits.
That's an old school beat.
The Eras Tour, presented by Capital One. Oh, I do love her. Earn 5 times miles on flights and 10 times miles on hotels through Capital One Travel.
Enjoy your stay at Suite 13.
Whoa, 13?
See, Steven, there's a problem.
The Venture
You put that up there and then I read it and then I hear it in my head. And I know that's why you're doing it.
Ray D and Dio. Saturday night, baby.
Might be in jeopardy, though.
Ray D and Dio. Chris can play on the stream if he can't come in.
How do we hear them?
I'll set the speaker up.
How do we not get feedback from everybody? I'm just trying to.
We should be fine. As long as I point the mics away from the speaker, it should work. Wrapping up the second hour of the Rob Brown Show here on the Fan Upstate. Rob, Lonzo, and you. World Baseball Classic. I brought it up on, what was it, Wednesday? And asked how many of you guys are going to be watching. Yeah, I don't know what that was. Sorry about that. Asked how many of you guys are going to be watching Saturday night when the Americans open up World Baseball Classic play with Great Britain. One thing that has been going on that is super interesting is that to get warmed up for the World Baseball Classic, some of the international teams have been playing Major League Baseball teams in spring training. And it has led to some very interesting matchups. For instance, yesterday, Mike Trout, playing for Team USA, took on the LA Angels of Anaheim. That's his team. So you got to watch what it would be like if Mike Trout wasn't playing for the Angels. Yesterday, Venezuela took on the Houston Astros. Who bats leadoff for Venezuela in the World Baseball Classic? Jose Altuve, arguably the best leadoff man in all of Major League Baseball, went up against his own team. Not only did he do that,
but swatted a hard shot out to left for a leadoff single on the first pitch that he threw. Ran the bases against the Houston Astros. I have gotten obsessed with the World Baseball Classic. The fact that they have gotten me hooked up on the warm-ups. Why? Because Major League Baseball bought into it. This roster with Pete Alonso, Tim Anderson, Nolan Arenado, Mookie Betts, Paul Goldschmidt, Merrill Kelly, Lance Lynn, Miles Mikolas, Ryan Presley, JT Realmuto, Kyle Schwarber, Will Smith, Mike Trout, Kyle Tucker, Trey Turner, Adam Wainwright, Bobby Witt Jr. from the Royals. This team is an all-star team. And Major League Baseball, well, and by the way, there are guys who could not get on the roster who wanted to be, right? There are guys who could not get on the roster who wanted to be on the roster because they couldn't get insured, right? Baseball bought in the way that FIFA did. One of the things that FIFA does is FIFA will insure players who get on their international teams. So if you go play in the World Cup and you break your leg and you can't go back to your club gets a payout that they can then use to put towards other players to replace you on the roster till you're healthy. MLB did that this year. So if you play in the World Baseball Classic and you get hurt, your team gets compensation in Major League Baseball. And that has opened up the door for the best players to represent the Stars and Stripes in a way that hasn't been done before. The second thing that I love about this is it generates more interest, right? I'm not watching a bunch of college kids playing this thing against professionals from other countries. We're sending our best against the world's best. That also generates interest from the rest of the world. Now, all of a sudden, Venezuela, Honduras, Japan, China, they're putting the best they got. We're getting to see their best against MLB's best, including MLB's best against America's best. This is great for baseball. And more importantly, it's giving us great baseball. Watch the World Baseball Classic. It is worth your time. The games are good. It is the most talented players in the world. And now the Americans are sending a more than competitive team. What an incredible event. It is World Cup caliber. Watch it. Third hour is going to get weird on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Back after this.
Yeah, Steven, he's been ill for a couple of days, so now he may have to join from an undisclosed location. To my wife, I say hey back, and also you commented on mine, not on the fan thing, so I can't see it. Luckily, I saw it, but. I probably should stop that.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto.
Presto!
real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment. Go to
Évidemment.
Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
I keep saying that too when this commercial plays, but what if it doesn't really mean that? What if it meant something else? And you've been saying it like every single time, and then
Évidemment. I don't even know what it actually means. Does it mean welcome?
I think it means the same things that were just said in English before it, but I don't know.
I switched to Boost Mobile and got a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Want to know the best part? It was free. Nope. The fact that it's on America's largest 5G networks? Nope. It's the ding. Oh yeah, love the ding. Right? It's all about the ding. It's the dingarooski, the dingarona. Ring a ding ding.
Unleash your power to save with Boost. Get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G when you switch. Boost Mobile, unleash your power. And the ding. Limited time offer. New customers only. Available on select networks. 5G not available in One of the best for all. Texas team. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost store for details. When it comes to the best sports talk, so on, man. Listen to the Fan Upstate on Odyssey no matter where you are. In the car, at home, at work. Download the free Odyssey app on your phone. Search the Fan Upstate and you're in the game. Hey, how we roll? The Fan Upstate. The Rob Brown Show. Now 19.
There's not enough of you complaining about it to make a change. When there's enough of you to make a change, then a change will probably happen.
A change will do you good. A change will do Sheryl Crow, I think. Sheryl Crow, right?
I believe it's true. She believes you should run with one square toilet paper.
One square. Who uses a square?
You don't remember that whole thing. Yes, one square. Save the planet. Use one square.
Listen,
When your butt's like this wide, maybe it's possible, but
Liver Rob, the
we're
woke
sturdy in here. It takes a little more than one.
Liver Rob, the woke warriors. Absolutely hashtag Team Save the Planet. Absolutely hashtag Team Conservation. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now. If you tell me I'm only allowed to use one square, I better move next to a wood bar or something, because that ain't gonna work. All right, that ain't gonna work.
Is that nature's DNA?
Great show, new time. Now nice and aired only on the Fan Upstate. WORD Spotlight.
Representing HD3 the official sports voice of the Upstate
I don't know if Kevin is commenting on what we were talking about earlier or if he's actually having tequila for lunch.
Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. The third, the final, the best, the money hour starts right now, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, y'all. Rolling headlong, headstrong towards the end of the radio broadcast. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo, is behind the board and making all of the radio greatness that is currently entering your ear holes. So happy to have you guys along with us today. If you want to be a part of the radio broadcast, this is your opportunity. 844-326-3663, 844-FAN phone, 844-326-3663. You can jump on the air with us. You can text us at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. You can tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, W-O-R-D, at Lonzo on Word. Hit us up there. And, of course, you can visit the Facebook page at facebook.com/TheFanUpstate. Make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, at The Fan Upstate on YouTube. Just search The Fan Upstate, like and subscribe to our channel. Because yesterday after a conversation with our corporate overlords, we now have the opportunity, the capability to begin posting video clips up there. So if you missed the show, you're not watching the stream live on the YouTube channel or the Facebook page, we're going to be putting up highlight segments from the show on our YouTube channel that you can watch if you miss it. A lot of stuff to get into in this hour of the show. What we've run over so far. Clemson, big win last night over NC State in the quarterfinals of the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament. It was a win that Clemson needed. I told you guys that I think the Tigers needed 2. I think they needed to win 2 in the ACC tournament if they were going to take the selection committee out of play. I said if they could take the selection committee out of play, they would feel much better about their chances. What did they do? They went out, they beat the Wolfpack by 26 last night. It is the 3rd time this season they've beat NC State. They have won 5 of the last 6, this one in dominating form. 4 of 5 starters reached double digits. The only one who did not was Brevin Galloway, who put down 9. Missed it by a free throw, getting all 5 starters in double digits. Scheifelen had 15. PJ Hall had 15. 10 for Tyson, 11 for Hunter, 8 off the bench as well for Dylan Hunter as he pitched in reserve play. 80-54 your final in a game that frankly was close at halftime, and then Clemson blew the doors off. At one point, NC State led by 9. The first half would come to its conclusion 39-36, a 3-point game. Second half, that's the Clemson Tiger team we've been waiting to show up. The second half score, 41-18 in the second half. But it's never been scoring points. That's the problem. It has been consistently doing this, putting games back to back doing this. Remember, same team that beat FSU by 40, its largest ACC win differential ever. Same team that beat NC State by 25 in their house a few weeks ago. Same team that beat Notre Dame by 23. Same team that put up 80 against FSU in the game in Tallahassee and closed them out. Same team that beat a Georgia Tech team that beat FSU by 21 last time they matched up. It has never been about Clemson's ability to put the brown thing through the round thing. It has always been about their ability to do it back-to-back games. They went to FSU and scored 82, won that game. Turned around, lost at Boston College. They played Miami to a 4-point game. That was a top 25 team. Actually, I think a top 15 team at the time. Played Miami to a 4-point game. Then turned around and lost by 20 to a North Carolina team that did not make the tournament. They beat FSU by 40 points at home. Turn around and lost to Louisville, a 3-win ACC team. They beat NC State 96-71. Turn around and lost at Virginia. 7-point L, but it frankly wasn't that close, respectfully. It has been putting back-to-back games together. Now, here's the good news. Where does Clemson stand right now? They ended the regular season by winning 23 points over Notre Dame. Then they turn around and won by 26 against NC State. That's back-to-back games. Now, Notre Dame is a quad 3 win. A win, but a quad 3 win. You turned around and got what I believe is a quad 2 win when you consider a neutral site game against NC State. Now you get a quad 1 game. A neutral site game against the number 13 team in the country in a tournament setting. It's that simple. Win the game tonight, you're in the tournament. Don't win the game, and the NC State margin of victory of 26 might be the exclamation point the Tigers needed to convince the committee, but you will still be doing the convincing as opposed to beating Virginia tonight and you're just in. You're just in. You're good to go. What else did we talk about? Carolina, the North version, bounced from the ACC tournament. They are, in my opinion, the single and solo most disappointing team in the history of college basketball. Since the tournament expanded to 64 teams way back in 1985. You know how I know that's a long time ago? That's the year I was born, and I'm old. Since the tournament expanded to 64 back in 1985, every single preseason number one team made the tournament, except this year's. North Carolina is the only team that started preseason number one and did not make the tournament since 1985. Of those teams, pardon me, 1/3 of them went in as a number one seed. 2/3 of them went in as a 2-seed or higher. The only one of them that did not accomplish a 5-seed or higher was the 2013-14 Kentucky team. They went into the tournament as an 8-seed. But then they ran the tournament and made it to the tournament finals. North Carolina is the most disappointing college team in the history of basketball. I suspect it's a team we're going to be talking about for a very long time. 4 starters from last year's national championship team returned, and they could not get the job done. My question for Tar Heel fans, and I know that there are a few of you guys out there. My question for you guys is, do you one and done your coach? Is Hubert Davis getting the boot? Because I got to tell you, I'm a basketball fan. I have never coached anything more experienced than middle school basketball. I don't say statements like this lightly. I don't make statements like this very frequently. Traditionally, because I can't prove them. But I'm going to say this, Alonzo. I think I could have coached North Carolina to a tournament appearance. I'm not saying a Final Four, Elite Eight. I'm not saying a Sweet 16. But the amount of talent that team had across the starting starting 5, 4 starters returning, and bringing back a number of players from the bench from last year, I genuinely believe that team should have just been able to talent themselves into the tournament. The fact they didn't, in a year in which the ACC is down as a conference, embarrassing. Embarrassing. I'm not saying I fire Hubert Davis. I am saying he's sitting in my office today explaining what happened. How did this go so squirrely? How did this go so sideways? We talked about Lamar Jackson. Earlier in the week, we had multiple players, both current and former, including J.J. Watt, that came out and said they truly believe there is some aspect of collusion happening behind the scenes in the NFL, because it makes no sense that Lamar Jackson would get the non-exclusive tag, be open for negotiations, and immediately have multiple teams, specifically ones that needed a quarterback and specifically ones that were willing to bid on Deshaun Watson, all collectively saying we're out, and all doing it within minutes of each other. That's what happened. Atlanta was in on Deshaun. Now they're out on Lamar. Carolina was in on Deshaun. Now they're out on Lamar. New Orleans barely escapes this, and I would absolutely blast them too. But they signed Derek Carr, the most valuable free agent quarterback out there. They signed Derek Carr to a contract, so they barely escape it. But now it is not just the former players that are saying they believe there is something going on behind the scenes. Now we are hearing active NFL agents, if you believe, guys like Charles Robinson, writing for Yahoo Sports.
Lil H?
That's what I initially thought. The most luscious locks in all of wrestling. Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports spoke to, according to his report, and I take it with a grain of salt, but not lightly, multiple agents around the NFL, and said that agents are saying they believe there is something going on behind the scenes at the NFL here. Now remember, as I pointed out earlier this week, NFL teams are not allowed to cooperate in terms of manipulating the market. That is against antitrust exemptions that the NFL has. It is against the collective bargaining agreement struck between the NFLPA and the owners themselves. They cannot talk behind the scenes about who is willing to offer what to what player in order to manipulate the market. But multiple agents are now saying that is happening, according to Charles Robinson.
All right. Let me just, and this is not conspiracy, but let's just say that, let's say that you see someone who's not using your services. So you decide, you know what, we're going to come to that person's aid so they'll realize that they need to use our services. Let's say you're an agent and you know there's a player that you're discussing who has no agent. You would like to be that player's agent. So you come to his defense saying, see, this is the kind of thing you'll get if you hire me as your agent. I'm just saying.
You're floating a theory.
It's
and
just
I accept your theory.
I mean, you know.
But I will also, if you get to float a theory, I'll float one as well.
If you're that agent or agents, you can make a lot of money if you get Lamar to just decide, you know what, I can't handle all this. I need to go with you guys. Obviously, you're on top of things. I want you to be my agent.
You float a theory, I will float a counter theory. Agents still, even if they don't get Lamar, want Lamar to get as much money as is possible, even if they don't get their fingers on it. Why? Because if Lamar Jackson gets a $200 million guaranteed contract, every other quarterback is going to get overpaid as well. Right? So if you represent Jimmy Garoppolo, you absolutely want Lamar to get a $200 million guaranteed. If you represent Carson Wentz, you want him to get that. If you represent Matt Ryan, you want him to get that contract because all of your collective markets are going to rise alongside that. Just like when Deshaun got a $230 million fully guaranteed contract. You think Russell Wilson's worth $200 million a year? Almost $250 million?
No.
Right. But he got that contract. Why? Because the market was spun on its head in quarterback's favor. So if you're an agent, sure. And I will even go so far as to acknowledge that if that is the case, it would make sense for some agents to outright lie and say, oh, there's definitely collusion because Lamar deserves $200 million. Because if Lamar gets $200 million, any quarterbacks that they represent, no matter what level they represent them at, now the market is inflated for quarterbacks and they're going to get more money, which means the agents get more money. I acknowledge that the scenario playing out absolutely would make it make sense for agents to lie about this. And if it was any quarterback but Lamar or Aaron Rodgers, I would say I could even be convinced that the agents are lying.
It could also backfire on the agents, though, because if they're backing him and Lamar actually gets what he wants, then maybe some other players go, okay, he got paid what he wanted and he doesn't have to share with an agent. What do I need an agent for?
Maybe so, but even other players are saying Lamar needs an agent. Right? You can't negotiate this, not just negotiate the initial contract, but you've got to be constantly renegotiating your contract, even when you're under contract, when there are adjustments that need to be made, when there are bonuses that need to be converted in or out, etc. It is easier to have an agent who is responsible for that than to have the GM of the team walk up to Lamar's locker in week 8 and go, hey, we need to start working on converting a bonus. But that's all aside. The agents, Charles Robinson says he spoke with 3 agents in putting this piece together. He said that, quote, all 3 agents agree that one piece of information that has been repeatedly flagged as an issue in the negotiation is unquestionably true. The Deshaun Watson deal is the wedge between the two parties. He said the agents all say that unlike most elite quarterback deals that reset negotiating expectations in relatively expected increments, Watson's deal with the Browns was an outlier like nothing the league had ever seen,
shattering norms and guarantees and structure. For elite quarterbacks moving forward, it would be a measuring stick in future deals. For teams, it would be pegged as an absurd outlier from a desperate franchise. And that is correct. Back in September of last year, the Ravens had advanced a $250 million deal with $133 million guaranteed. In any other year, that is a contract that a guy like Lamar Jackson would salivate over. But because the contract was so inflated, Lamar's going, yo, hold up, wait a minute. Let me flip that around. That's ridiculous, right? Speaking of Deshaun, Lamar put up a tweet where he pointed out this statistic. In all of NFL history, through 61 starts, there are 5 quarterbacks with a 96-plus passer rating and 100 passing touchdowns in their first 61 starts. This is a passing quarterback statistic. Quarterbacks in NFL history with a 96 passer rating and 100-plus passing touchdowns in their first 61 starts. Here's the list, Alonzo. Dan Marino, Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, wait, who is that first one?
Dan Marino, an elite quarterback. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson. 61 starts, 96-plus passer rating, 100-plus passing touchdowns. There are 5. Mahomes, Marino, Rodgers, Watson, and Jackson. That's the list, the entire list. And I bring that up, as Lamar pointed out, to make the point that everybody's looking at Lamar Jackson, and the perspective is that he's what? A running quarterback. Lamar Jackson is in an elite group right now as a passer, who also, I would argue, if he ain't the best runner on this list, he is no worse than second. And I would argue Jackson's a better runner than Mahomes. Pure runner.
Yeah.
Jackson is the best rushing quarterback on this list. And this is a list of passing quarterback excellence. Marino, Rodgers, Watson, Mahomes, and Jackson. So I think it is fair. James said, Dan Marino sounds like a jobber. I think it is fair to extend myself out there and go, there is a reason. I'm not going to declare what the reason is. There is a reason that Lamar Jackson is not at least being spoken to. Now, maybe he is. Maybe Atlanta, Carolina, Seattle, Detroit, Baltimore. Maybe they're all having that conversation. But I don't think it is a ridiculous stretch. I'm not willing to make it, but I don't think it's a ridiculous stretch when agents and players go, there's something more to this. Now, the teams are going to argue. It's just the money, right? It's just the money. Baltimore offered $200 million, 130 guaranteed. And Lamar said, no, it's just the money. That's just too much, even for an all-time passer, which Lamar Jackson, at least according to this list, is. But 5 other teams were willing to pay Deshaun money that much. They were willing to pay Deshaun that much money. And now all of a sudden they're not? Why? So I think it's fair to ask these teams to explain exactly why they're not interested. As Alonzo pointed out, they're absolutely not obligated to. Doesn't mean I'm not allowed to ask. Let's take a break. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, backstretch, home stretch. Fanboy Friday makes its triumphant return when we come back. What are you watching? What are you listening to? What are you playing? Let's have a little fun. Then we'll wrap up the week of broadcasting on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Opened it with Greenville. Let me talk to you. It's Chuckabut time. Yeah.
I've been having a back and forth with Zach on Facebook about him.
About LA Knight?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so Fox Carolina has just tweeted out a thing about ranch ice cream. Hidden Valley to create ranch flavored ice cream. Available exclusively at Walmart. You guys want some ranch flavored ice cream? Ranch is good on everything. Is ranch good on ice cream? I don't know, man. Kevin, dude, it's Friday. Chill.
If you own a small business, you know the value of time. GetRefunds.com does too. That's why they've made it easy, no matter how busy you are, to apply for the Employee Retention Credit, or ERC. Go to refunds.com to get started, and in less than 8 minutes, see if your business qualifies for ERC assistance. Your business may be eligible for a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee kept on payroll during COVID-19. GetRefunds.com has already helped clients claim over $3 billion in payroll tax refunds.
So Fox Carolina just tweeted this out, and I've seen a bunch of news places tweeting this out. Hidden Valley Ranch ice cream.
Nope.
You not
I love
down?
ranch, I love ice cream. Nope.
So if you were on a show that does taste tests and they were having that taste test,
I would do
just
it.
some particular show.
I'll do it for content.
Okay, all right. Because last time there was macaroni ice cream and I couldn't find it. It's by the same company, exclusive at Walmart, and I don't know. Maybe it's just the fancy WalMarts that get the special ice cream, but I couldn't find it around here.
I would do it for content. I would not just bring it home. I did see a video the other day on I don't remember, one of the social medias, where a dude lost his fantasy football league, and the punishment, he had to sit at a table and eat a gallon of mustard flavored ice cream, and he could not get up from the table till it was gone.
Mustard ice cream?
Mustard flavored ice cream.
Who made the ice cream?
I have no idea.
Because I think that's important.
I have
Depending, because certain ice cream companies are better than others. Steven wants to know if you've tried dill pickle vodka.
I have not, but I absolutely would.
How come he's more accepting of that than ranch ice cream?
Because
That's just,
pickles are good, and vodka can taste like anything.
can it? Okay.
Yes. In fact, one of my favorite drinks, and I am going to be relentlessly mocked for this by the group that believes that man cards are a thing. One of my favorite drinks is a Beta root beer with vanilla flavored vodka. It's called a barrel roll, and it's delightful. There is birthday cake flavored vodka, which is delicious. If you mix it with the right thing. But I do love dill pickles. So I would therefore be happy to drink dill pickle flavored vodka.
Okay. But you won't eat ranch ice cream. That's just weird to me. It just
No,
is.
because I will eat a pickle. I'm not going to sit there with a spoon and just eat ranch
So is it
dressing.
more about the after effect that you're going to get with the vodka as opposed to the after effect with the
No,
ice cream?
I like the taste of pickles.
Okay, all right.
Sorry for Fanboy Friday. When you hear the lightsabers clash, you know it's time to talk about all the things we wanted to talk about that are not sports. Ladies and gentlemen, your chance to chime in. What are you watching? What are you listening to? What are you playing? What is going on in your life right now that you want people to know about, to enjoy? I want to start with this. I saw the other day that HBO's dramatic series, The Last of Us, which of course was inspired by the video game, is doing numbers comparable to, and the season finale, which drops on Sunday, is threatening to potentially do a better number than the season finale of Game of Thrones House of the Dragon. That series, which for people like me who loved Game of Thrones until season 5, were very apprehensive about. I was very nervous about House of the Dragon because of how poorly Game of Thrones ended. The guys that were showrunners and writers for Game of Thrones effectively gave up on it in order to move on to a Star Wars project, which then hilariously got canned. But they ruined what I truly, honestly believe was the best television show maybe ever in Game of Thrones. So I was very apprehensive about House of the Dragon. It started off slow ratings-wise, but they did such an outstanding job with season 1 of House of the Dragon, that the numbers climbed to the stratosphere. And The Last of Us may actually beat that number. I thoroughly love this show. And here's why. Zombie shows have been around since Romero did Night of the Living Dead in whatever decade it was, the 70s. And there have been all kinds of different takes on it. You've got slow zombies like the original Romero zombies. We've had the 28 days later zombies, the zombies that can run and sprint and chase you down. We've had big monster zombies. We've had The Walking Dead, which for a while, another television show that started off with an incredible story. And then unfortunately, they just pushed it too far to the point that it started getting away from the original intent. Now, it is only season 1 of Last of Us, and more importantly, they have got something of a manuscript to follow in the video game. Zoe, did you ever play Last of Us?
Nah, it didn't interest me.
I dabbled in it. I followed it. I played it a little bit up front, but when I lost my PlayStation, I lost the ability to play it.
I guess I don't really play horror games. I'm not against them. I just don't really play them. And you know, if I look on my library, which is a pretty good library of games, I can't think of a horror game that might actually be on it.
Here's why I love the game. Here's why I love the show. It is horror in that there are zombies, and there are zombies at all levels. It's interesting because they're not the traditional zombie, right? Traditional zombie, I want to eat your brains.
They're like plants, dude.
They're mushrooms, effectively. Cordyceps is a real thing, by the way. If you want to be truly horrified, look it up. They are parasitic fungi that right now only have the capability of infecting insects, but they take control of the brain of an insect, force it to walk into the ideal growth spot, kills the bug, and then the fungus grows out of that bug in order to spread itself and do it all over again. It's truly horrifying. And in the universe in which this television show is set, the cordyceps fungus has evolved the ability to do this to human beings as well. And that's where the zombies come from. But the story is not, as many have been in the past, the story is not it's not just survival from the fungus, but it's like the individual perspective on the world while also surviving the zombies.
Which was done in Walking Dead.
It was. And then they got away from it, and it basically turned into, how many gory ways can we kill people? which is fine as part of the show, but not. It
Yeah,
shouldn't be the
it's-
sole point
Yeah,
of the
it's
show.
fine on a show, not in real life. He shouldn't. Yeah, do that. So-
I adore this show. I love this show because it's not just doing this from the group perspective, but really just from the perspective of two very different characters. And the premise of it is that, yeah, the world's going to suck. And you get to decide if there's hope in it or not. And I think it's fascinating. But more fascinating is the fact that it is showing that tropes can work if you do them the right way. And I think the show's great. So if you haven't watched HBO's Last of Us, I very much encourage you. That being said, Zoe, how was the Hogwarts game? Have you lost attention on it?
I have to go away from it at times because it's such a big game. It's over like 100 gigs when you download it, and there's so much to do in it. And there are times where I'm like, okay, I need to go play something else and come back to it. I'm on that right now. But my plans are this evening to go back to it.
Okay.
Because I need to beat it eventually because the Diablo 4 open beta comes out next week. And well, one of them, and then the following week too, and the actual game comes out in June. And plus, I'm also playing Atomic Heart. I want to beat that just because it's a game that's not very good, so I want to beat it because it's a game where you keep playing, going, okay, the mechanics in this is horrible. By the way, the Hogwarts, everything is good in it. Hogwarts, all the mechanics, all the story, everything is good. I just got the Cruciatus Curse. I haven't used it on a person yet. Probably will. There are the only problem I have with Hogwarts is that you've got to learn some things that bad guys do to progress the story. Whereas if you're trying to play it straight, good guy, you're still going to be, I guess, tempted, and you're going to have to use the curse a little bit in the main story. But once you do that, then you can stray away from it if you want. I'd rather draw someone in and then launch them than watch them in excruciating pain. I guess you're in pain if you're flying through the air and knowing that you're going to land eventually and it's going to hurt. But the story itself, there are puzzles. I was stuck on a puzzle, and because I'm stuck on a puzzle, I will go away from something and come back because I don't want to look up how to solve it.
So I am. I will start with the Atomic Heart thing. I was actually super into the concept of that game. I played through probably an hour of it and it just lost me. Not the story's fine. It's just a clunky game.
And they're in Russia with no Russian accents, and that just bothers me.
It doesn't bother me. I don't care about that. It's just a clunky game.
And there's language used because I mean, whether I use that language or not, some places it's warranted. And in this case, it's like, the actors are not,
That's terrible voice acting.
Yeah, I don't feel it.
Yeah,
I don't feel
I
it
think
at
the
all.
story's fine. I think the concept is fine.
It's
I
a
think
pretty game. It
looks
is.
great.
Yeah, it does.
It's just very clunky. And of course, I can't get into the Hogwarts game until it drops on Xbox One because I'm poor.
Sorry.
And unlike Lonzo, I can't buy all the new consoles because he's a 1%er.
My wife bought it for me and paid payments on it. Whatever. She got it from QVC, man. So I mean,
Texter says, by the way, Last of Us is excellent. I agree. It's a great show. I'm curious right now because this is the first time in a while when the Harry Potter game dropped. For a while, all my nerd communities were all kind of dialed in on that. It seems to have, and I'm not sure why. I know there's obviously a lot going on in the response to some of the statements from J.K. Rowling. A lot of people refuse to play it based on politics. I understand that, and I support that decision.
Yeah. I don't think that's impacted it as far as people buying the game.
Oh, I absolutely think it's impacted it as far as people buying the game.
I
I personally know a number of fellow nerds who are refusing.
What is the percentage you think? Maybe 0.5%, maybe?
No, I think you're much higher than that. I think you
No
are.
way.
I think because you disagree with that concept, you just assume that the majority of people
No,
do.
here's what I do. I play a game because I want to try the game out. I don't listen to the politics of it. I don't listen to critics. Sometimes I get burned over that because sometimes critics are right and a game really does suck. But I don't care about all that.
And that's fine. I'm not saying you
yeah,
do or don't.
yeah,
This is not about
but-
you.
but I am not going to automatically say that those people have made an impact on the game because I don't believe they have.
There are a lot of people who, because of the statements of J.K. Rowling,
Loud voices without impact as far as the game
I
goes.
see. I disagree with you. And now that being
Neither
said,
one of us have numbers to prove it.
all I can tell you is that anecdotally, correct. All I can tell you is that anecdotally, I know a number of people in my circle refusing to play the game who play every game.
And I know a number of people in my circle who are playing it despite all that.
Absolutely. And that's fine.
And now we should talk about whose circle's bigger.
All of that being said, I would be curious as to if we could ever see what impact it would have. I don't know that we can. That being said,
In the end, the game will get beaten. It will go away. The next game will come along, and no
and
one
that's
will
what
care.
I'm curious about is that I don't see, like, I thought Atomic Heart was going to be the game that jumped in the forefront, but I really don't say anything about it after it dropped. I'm curious as to like what the big thing is right now because there doesn't seem to be one right now,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
If Diablo 4 came out tomorrow,
It would be that?
I wouldn't play Hogwarts again until I was tired of Diablo 4.
So I'm curious.
And Starfield, by the way, got pushed back. It doesn't come out till September 6th.
Yeah, that's kind of killing me because that is actually probably the next big game I'm excited about.
Yeah, maybe by then you get another console.
Maybe by then we'll see. Probably not. We'll see. I'm not. I don't make Lonzo money yet. So here's one more thing I wanted to drop in that I'm very curious about. We have seen over the last 6-8 months, DC making a huge effort to restructure the DC universe. We know that Jason Momoa will not be returning as Aquaman. They will be recasting that role. We know that Henry Cavill.
Well, he will be. There's another Aquaman movie coming
After
out.
the next
so.
Aquaman movie drops, he will not be in that role anymore. We know Henry Cavill was dropped as Superman, as they apparently are going to try to make a focus on, I guess, a younger Superman. But then James Gunn went and had a conversation with Henry Cavill about him playing another role within the DC universe. Now, that's not unheard of. Remember, Chris Evans initially played Johnny Flame in the Fantastic Four before he was promoted to be Captain America.
Storm.
Sorry, Johnny Storm. Before he was promoted to be Captain America in the MCU. Now, the old Fantastic Four wasn't really considered canon within the new MCU, but we have had actors playing one role in the MCU moving on into another, predominantly during a transition, as DC is going through. I really want DC to do good, to do well, to put out good movies, right? I gave them a number of chances. I think, in fact, I thought.
Do you, though?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
I'm just not entirely buying it, but, you know.
And that's fine.
Because
but the
you're one of
answer
those
is-
Marvel-only guys.
No,
this
I'm-
guy's like, he's got that vibe.
No, see, what you're doing is what they call gatekeeping. Rob loves Marvel, therefore he can't love DC. And that's not true. I do want it to. It's just that the movies have sucked. They
No,
just have.
See?
What movie was good?
Justice League, the
Sucked.
Snyder Cut was really good.
It was just a slightly longer and slightly
As we
less
talked
discombobulated
about
Justice League.
circles earlier, my circle enjoyed it. Apparently, yours didn't, or just you didn't.
I didn't.
You decide if you're going to like or dislike a movie before you watch it.
Incorrect. That's just not right. Wonder Woman, dude, you know.
Wonder
I'm a
Woman, yes,
fan.
Wonder Woman was good.
Wonder Woman 84 was one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
I agree
It
there.
was trash.
She roped the lightning, whatever. Okay. Also, let's see, Peacemaker. I know it's not a movie, but it's a series.
I enjoyed Peacemaker.
I know.
You gonna give me the movie? You gonna make that big screen?
He
'Cause
was on a movie, Suicide Squad, the James Gunn Suicide Squad. Did you not like that movie?
Did not like that movie.
Okay.
And that sucks because I like James Gunn, but I didn't like that movie. I got to the end. And
I
was like,
agree with Hudson. I thought Shazam was really good.
See, now, I have not seen it yet, but I also know that Shazam.
I also thought Man of Steel was an excellent movie. I didn't like the end when he broke Zod's neck, but that's just me.
I thought Man of Steel was probably the best effort they've had. I wouldn't say it was great. I'd say it was good.
But
would say it was
you
great.
also don't like Superman, so
That's not true. That's not true.
Come on, you don't like Superman.
No, what I have said is Superman is a walking Deus Ex Machina. It's just like anytime there's a problem, let's just give him a superpower to fix it. Right?
Sounds like dislike to me.
I
You know,
think,
what do I know?
writers can steer wrong with him.
Yeah, James, Titans did get canceled. The rest of this season's supposed to come out in the summer.
I was beyond jacked about Batman versus Superman. It was the dumbest ending to a movie I've seen in a very long
Yeah,
time.
it's the whole Martha thing. You guys are fixed.
Martha!
You guys are fixated on
Because
that.
it was the whole critical point of the movie.
I
And it
do-
was dumb.
See, by the way, I can like DC and Marvel, but Rob doesn't like DC. It's okay, man. You don't have
Point
to
is-
like everything.
Question is, can it be fixed?
I think I proved my point.
Texter says, Rob, Suicide Squad 2 and Peacemaker are the only good DC shows / movies. I wouldn't even go that far.
You haven't watched Titans, especially this last season,
Right,
which
I
was really
wouldn't-
good.
I wouldn't go that far.
And Doom Patrol is right up your alley. You would love every single episode of it.
That is on the list. I'm assuming for much the same reason I enjoyed Peacemaker,
Yes. But
because give me violent, gory, raunchy,
yeah,
and vulgar.
well, this is just more raunch and weird raunch.
Perfect.
So yeah.
Perfect. You can do that and be good at it. I'm here for it. It's just that the major offerings they've served up just have not been. There have been a couple that have been good, but it has not consistently been good.
Constantine.
Is there a new one since? Because
No.
Keanu did it and it was amazing.
Right. And that's a DC,
Amazing.
that's a DC movie.
Right. Is that part of the
No,
current lore?
no. You're talking about how I'll just put. I found a DC movie you
Okay,
actually
let's go
liked.
DCU, current DCU has not been good. And I'm clearly
You already
not the
said
only-
you liked Wonder
Listen,
Woman. You already said you liked Wonder
The
Woman.
first Wonder Woman was good.
Did you like Aquaman?
I saw about 80% of it.
Dude, that was a good movie. It
was-
really was. You
It
should
was
watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, if you had to collect comics right now, which kind would you collect?
I don't know because I've been tuned out for a while.
You just don't want to answer the
That's
question.
not true. No, that's not true. There is actually a series I just found out about like 2 days ago that I want to watch or that I want to read. Apparently, somebody wrote a comic about the Gotham City Police Department.
Yeah, it's been out for a while.
I absolutely am going to get that.
Are you sure?
Yes.
It's a DC license. I'm not sure you want to.
I'm so done with you right now. I'm just over it. All right.
Hey, you're stuck with me for at least 17 minutes.
At least let's take a break. What are you guys watching, listening, playing? Hit me up. Give us some suggestions. Always looking for more to waste the precious free time that I have. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
James, they have to keep him for this movie. This movie is a linchpin for everything that they're going to do going forward because Flashpoint's going to change everything. You're going to come back. There's going to be a different Batman. There's going to be a different Superman. There's going to be a different everybody. And it wouldn't even shock me if Flash comes back and he looks in the mirror and he's no longer Ezra Miller. He took care of everything. Not only did he change the entire world, he changed his own looks.
Are we getting Reverse Flash?
Yes, he's the bad guy. And it wouldn't shock me if Reverse Flash is actually Ezra Miller. You know where they're showing the two Ezra Millers? I think the other one is the bad guy. I'm just glad that I just don't have a bias towards one or the other. I'm just willing to go and check everything out.
don't either. It is simply the product. The DC product isn't good. It's just I want it to be.
It's like
with wrestling, it is better when there are
it's like the people who hate the prequels, even though the movies weren't made for them. It's the same kind of argument. It just doesn't. Yeah, I like Tyler Hoechlin. By the way, that's coming back like I think this week or next week, but I don't think that he translates to the big screen as far as Superman goes. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Hudson. Don't be shocked if they don't use the word reverse at some point as a joke, though.
Without the ones like you who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools.
Yeah, I like it too. It's gonna be interesting since John, the actor who played John, has been recast because that guy just quit acting. So, also all these things and more you can hear tomorrow night, 7 to 9 p.m. on 106.3 WRD or Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, or Twitter on the Upstate Pulse, because we talk about this stuff. And we're smack dab in the middle of our first round of our Upstate Pulse video game bracket. And Rob's going to be on there tomorrow night. He shows up every once in a while and then gets really mad when the people he picks don't win.
Kansas City State Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Starting in 1932 as a family-owned
If you're talking about the series, James, I'm actually looking forward to seeing what they do with that. Yes, and that thing also, Stephen. Still not saying it. Or maybe I'm not saying it because, yes, Hudson, the Upstate Pulse. If you're listening to it on the air, for now, it's 106.3. Pretty soon it's going to be 98.9.
And on Saturday, we're playing Ray D'Andio.
See, I'm not saying that.
Say it. Say Ray D'Andio.
I'm not. I was going to say, it could be a thing that it might be a Krzyzewski for me. Maybe I just can't say it. Maybe. Or maybe I just legitimately don't like it.
We're going with R-A-D-N-D-I-O. Ray D'Andio.
Had nothing to do with it. Would I wear a shirt with it on it?
Yup.
Probably.
Yup.
Probably would.
Yup.
As long as my name's on the back. But you wouldn't be able to see it because of the hair. But still. Anyway, Hudson, you should check it out. We've been on the air for 7 years, working on our 8th year now. Hope we have some good matchups tomorrow. I haven't looked at what's left yet. There's got to be some stuff in the lower part that's pretty good. See if your tie streak continues.
Hate your tie system. Despise it.
Hey, you made yourself an enemy of everyone over there. So, I mean, you know.
I'm absolutely the heel on your show.
That's true. You and Matthew. Or maybe it's secretly T2.
And for the first time, I can say it's cold in this room.
It is time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending and he tells us why. Apparently it's cold in this room. I don't feel it. I just don't feel it. Maybe
I
it's,
say that before.
and you're wearing two
I'm
shirts.
also not wearing a hockey jersey for the first time.
Well, that's
in a
true,
while.
but you are wearing two shirts. You actually wear an undershirt. I've never been able to do that. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm wearing my undershirt as my outer shirt. Could be what it is. All right, the first thing that's trending is something that everyone cannot wait for: daylight savings time.
Sunday. Set your. Are we going?
We're springing forward.
Forward an hour.
So that means we're losing an hour.
Yeah. So Sunday night you will get an hour less sleep in order to
Help the farmers out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we
'cause
can we
they need
stop with that?
They've tried.
Are we not beyond that?
They've tried.
Who is the lobbyist group that is keeping this alive? Like, who is it?
Farmers markets. I don't know.
No,
So-
I've been to them. They're open. They don't care. They're open at like 3 a.m. Come get your peppers. Who is keeping daylight savings time alive? Can we get over it? I'm begging you all.
I mean, maybe, a lot of presidents lately like to use their pad and their pen, write an executive order to get rid of it. That would be nice. That would be something we all could believe
Yes.
in. But they're not going to do it. So for
Democrats, Republicans, one of you has the opportunity
independence,
to unleash
whatever.
the
Yeah.
most bipartisan effort in the history of America.
Genuine handshakes all around.
Yes.
But yeah, they're still not doing it. I think there was a big measure last year to the point where some people actually thought it took place. And maybe it's in our future, but for now, tomorrow night, you got to turn your clock forward and you lose sleep. And some of you will forget and will be late or early. I forget which one. One or the
I
other.
don't even know how it works.
All right. The next thing that's trending is Beetlejuice 2.
Really?
Yes.
So there is
Casting news.
there's a wildly popular Broadway musical based on Beetlejuice right now. That was actually at the Peace Center a couple of weeks ago, and I couldn't get tickets. When the lady friend and I went to New York a couple of years ago.
What did you make downstairs mad or something? And they just couldn't.
I don't know. I couldn't get a ticket. I was furious. I wanted to see it. So are we making is there a new Beetlejuice story?
Yeah, Michael Keaton's in, and
As
what?
Beetlejuice?
Yeah, and
Yo!
what's her name from Wednesday is going to play Lydia's daughter. That's
love
why it's
that.
trending.
I love
Ortega.
Olivia Rodrigo, or Ortega, Jenna Ortega. That's
Jenna
her name.
Ortega. Yeah,
Who, by the way, was a spectacular Wednesday Addams.
I still haven't watched it.
Spectacular Wednesday Addams. Listen, it's a show written for teenagers. It was enjoyable. She makes a wonderful Wednesday Addams. And by the way, I didn't catch this. I wonder why she creeped me out so much in that show. She does not blink. She doesn't blink. She's great. She's a fantastic. No, in the whole series, she does not blink. Fantastic Wednesday. She is the choice to play Lydia's daughter. Michael Keaton as aged Beetlejuice. Opening night.
Well, dude,
Opening night.
he's basically a zombie. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Beetlejuice, by the way, is a top 7 all-time movie for me. It is one of my favorite movies. It is on that list of if I'm flipping channels at 1 a.m. and I come across that movie, I'm watching it. No matter where I start it from, I'm watching it.
Yeah,
It's great.
I have to agree because Michael Keaton was a comedic actor. First of all, I actually was a stand-up comedian, and seeing him get back to his roots on that,
I'm here for it.
and get to be himself. All right, the last thing we have time for, Darius Slay is trending.
No idea why.
He
Restructured?
is requested that he be allowed to seek a trade, and the Philadelphia Eagles have agreed.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Slay, as he would like to be called, is on his way out.
Who's his agent?
Drew Rosenhaus, yeah.
Yep. However, Albert Breer is reporting that Darius Slay did not ask for a trade.
Okay, it was trending, and a bunch of people said,
Pro Football Talk and Albert Breer are both reporting that he did not ask for a trade. Diana Rossini said the Eagles have allowed agent Drew Rosenhaus. It seems like maybe it was a Rosenhaus move, which would be completely unsurprising. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for us for the week. If you're going to be at the Swamp Rapids game tonight, come up and say hi. I'd love to get the chance to meet you. Otherwise, have a lovely weekend. Do not drink and drive. I will punch you in the face. For Lonzo, I'm Rob. See you back here on Monday to do it all over again on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later, brother.
Make sure you tune in tomorrow to the Upstate Pulse and to the
To what?
Dungeons and Dragons that we'll be playing
No,
afterwards.
That's not it. What are we calling it? I forgot.
I'm unaware. Why does it need a name?
Ray D and Dio tomorrow night. We'll start up about 9:30. Hey, have a lovely
When
weekend.
there's
for everybody we don't talk to.
lightning, you know it always brings me down.
Ray D and Dio. See you tomorrow. Bye.